of Haryana as well.
Also this week, Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, was hit by a suicide attack that killed 12 people and injured dozens more. The body of one of the last hostages remaining in Gaza was returned on Thursday as Phase 1 of the Gaza peace plan neared its completion. Ever since Blake Sifton sent this report from Tel Aviv.
Hamas returned the body of an Israeli hostage on Thursday night after issuing a joint statement with Palestinian Islamic Jihad that they had retrieved a body from the Khan Yunis area in southern Gaza. Israel is expected to return the remains of 15 Palestinians to Gaza in exchange on Friday. The bodies of 3 hostages now remain in Gaza of the 28 that were there when the ceasefire was reached last month. 2 of the deceased are Israeli and 1 is Thai. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
And that was the Week in Review. That's Feature Story News. Nick Harper reporting.
A new report from the Department of Health and Human Services urges Americans to do something, anything at all. According to the study, getting off your ass and doing any sort of physical or mental activity could have positive health effects.
Look, we're not expecting you to go to the gym. That's clearly not happening. Just walk outside for a few blocks and then come back home. You can bring potato chips if that's what it'll take.
For many years, the health department has encouraged Americans to watch less TV, but this report reverses that, saying, quote, watch whatever the hell you want, but at least pay attention and remember who the characters are, or just admire the colors. Colors are pretty. It's expected that following the advice in this report will cut down on the largest cause of death among Americans, laying on your back until your mouth fills up with saliva and you drown. Following the report's release, the most popular exercise now seems to be masturbating, but researchers warn that if you do it in public, stick to the sidewalk or you might get hit by cars.
This is the Onion News Network.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. That number is for you to call in, bring up whatever is on your mind. That's the point of Free Talk Live. You can change the subject. It doesn't matter. It's just we're talking about whatever you want to talk about. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Jason Gerhardt.
And Angelo.
And there's lots of different things to talk about, as usual. There was stuff that Riley and I didn't even get to yesterday that we were thinking about talking about.
Did you guys get to Trump and Bill Clinton?
I don't think I believe that, but you can go ahead and say what you're talking about if you want.
Well, I just...
Hold on, don't do it. No.
Why? Why?
It's over now. He'll tell you.
Well, I just... Is it in the emails? I haven't read the emails myself. So it's supposedly in the emails describing Donald Trump giving fellatio to Bill Clinton.
But there was this screenshot going around that was to me it seemed obviously faked, and people were saying that was it. Maybe that was just a joke on it, and in reality there really was a real one? Is that what you guys are hearing?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm alluding to. That there was an email dump.
And when I said to my little brother, so this is as far as I did investigating, he said something about it. I was like, no, I heard that was fake. And he was like, yeah, I just heard that too. And that was the end of our conversation. So I don't know, maybe there's really something like that going on in the emails. And then Trump and his team are trying to put out counter information where people are like, oh no, well actually that was faked. And then the conversation ends. But like a caller yesterday said, his name is, what's that caller's name? He's from Kentucky. He said...
Jim Bob.
No. He's a really intelligent, fun person to call in, so if he's listening, he should definitely call in with whatever he thinks about this stuff. Well, he doesn't care. That's the thing. He said that the emails, it's a little hard for him to care, and he really cared about Epstein at first, the whole Epstein, saga, but it's hard for him to care considering with AI, they can easily fake, videos now, so... Yes. Documents are nothing, Yeah,
that's true. Well, either way, if that story's fake,
Creighton,
I still think MAGA might be dead after the whole Megyn Kelly interview.
What was that?
About I think Megyn Kelly asked the president, why do we need H-1B workers? Like, don't we have talent in America like that can do these jobs? And Trump was like, no, you don't. You just don't. We don't have it.
What? That seems like that's the opposite of what his whole thing
Well,
is.
yeah, that's why everybody's mad, because well, not everybody, but a lot of the MAGA,
the people who were all about make America great again and
his
America
base,
first.
his populist base is sitting there with "fell for it again" buttons and crying, is what it seems like, because that's not very America first. If you have to bend the knee to your tech oligarchs and start importing a ton of tech workers instead of, fixing America like you said you were going to.
Interesting. I hadn't heard that, but I have seen a bunch of pictures on like Twitter of people who are total MAGA people, like these bright blonde hair girls and stuff, and they're taking off their MAGA hats and putting on a blue hat that says America First. And I'm like, why did they choose blue? It makes it look like they're saying they're with the Democrats now, but whatever. That's like, semantics or whatever, but
I have to say blue is actually my favorite color.
blue is one of my least favorite colors.
It's soothing. it's the color of the sky. It should be if they weren't spraying it all the time. I mean, it's a really nice thing.
What do you think of this, Gerhard? You want to be called Jason on here? My bad. I won't dox you again.
No, I don't care. No, it's just not Gerhard with a T, but I don't care. It's all the same. All the names are changed anyway. During World War II, before, when the anti-German sentiment came across, Mueller became Miller, and so I think the name game is kind of fake anyway. But, yeah.
My last name is German too, my maiden last name, and it's Kruse, Kruse,
Mm-hmm.
and in Germany it's pronounced Kruse. So maybe maybe that's another example. Like they try to make it less German sounding.
I don't know. I'd like to get to the roots of
Spelling
things.
was the same though.
Yeah.
So one thing I was going to ask is
Can I add something to the previous comments? I think this is really, really serious, and I do agree that all the AI stuff can happen, but my whole position would be something I'm working at the county level on, but the grand juries, a federal grand jury could look into this easily. They could start pulling
Epstein
people,
stuff, right?
anything, all of it. Any concern you have as far as the federal government goes, actually your county grand jurors have more authority than them, but the federal grand juries, they can issue presentments. And in 1993, there was a case with the Department of Energy, and the federal grand jury wouldn't go along with the prosecutor's sweetheart deal. So they ended up issuing a presentment because they didn't want to deal with the not holding actual government people to account.
Mm-hmm.
So they went above him and actually went right to the judge, and they wanted to lock up actual members of the DOE for being corrupt, and also actual individual members of the corporation, instead of just the corporation as, they write a check and take it off their taxes next year kind of thing. So it's really amazing. And I think, anyway, if you want to get to the bottom of any of these issues that are nationwide, including maybe if Pash-Patel has some other interests, the ultimate thing you would do would be set these grand juries off. It's like a release the Kraken kind of thing.
So what is
Send them
a
and go.
presentment? What exactly is that?
So in criminal law, a presentment is a formal written accusation issued by a grand jury on its own initiative without a prior request or bill of indictment from a prosecutor. And that's from Cornell Law School. So back in the day, they used to issue presentments on everything. Even in Dover, the first presentment they have evidence of was in the late 1600s, and it was for not keeping the town... Oh, I can't think of it. It's the one for the legs, not the stocks. You know what I mean? Where your head, your hands, and your head go through.
I don't know the name, but yeah, so the torture device, or at least the punishment device.
Well, there was actually, it turns out there was a lesser punishment. It was just locking your legs in. So you could be on the ground, but you can't move your legs. So that was like
really weird.
You messed up, but like now you just got to sit there.
Like embarrassment.
Well, you have to sit there and watch people, but you're not like doing the scarecrow thing where think of how that's got to suck. So
probably
anyway,
hurts, yeah.
But way better than locking somebody up for 30 days or something.
Yeah.
And giving them soy burgers every day. I mean.
Yeah. That's one thing I worry about Ian. It's like,
I know,
what are they feeding him?
Yeah, he's a trooper. I do appreciate what he did. He's serving the national interest for sure.
He does a little better with the food though. Like he'll take the buns off of burgers. He'll when he gets pancakes, he doesn't eat it with their syrup. He puts honey on that he bought. Just stuff like little things that you can do to make it a little better.
That's pro tip. I mean, the glyphosate can be made edible. I mean, it's a lot of things we can just work with. But we should also, I think, in other states they actually issue them. Care kits.
Mm-hmm.
50 pounds you get to send somebody canned stuff, but your own in your own people that your own.
I would
people
love
you
that,
call.
but they don't like that at EMC.
No, I know that's the thing. They have such a monopoly.
It's just
on
a
this,
state.
But imagine, yeah.
Or sorry, state to state, or
Yes,
wait,
states.
federal
Certain states
prison?
allow it. Certain states allow it.
In
The federal
federal?
prison system is horrible.
Okay, yeah,
because
I wouldn't think
it's
so.
centralized control by bureaucrats, and everybody just looks the other way on everything. I have a little bit of experience. Somebody talked to me about it one time, but the, I just think that we need to circle back.
So sorry,
Yeah.
these presentments. If somebody was part of a grand jury and would they have to convince their other grand jurors to do
Yes,
it?
you need a majority to do
okay.
it. But that's the safeguard against having Karen going off on her HOA neighbor for not watering enough or something stupid,
And then you're all stuck there for the stupid presentment with Karen.
Yeah,
but okay,
why
that makes
not,
sense.
Why not let them talk amongst themselves? Because right now we have the Merrimack County grand jurors. They go in 2 days a month. I don't know for how many hours because I didn't stay there the whole time. But I talked to him in September and I was giving information.
Oh, you stood outside and
Yeah.
oh, that's a really good idea. I would totally help with that. Riley and I have been interested for a while, but it's just like, so much going on. We've been wanting to go finish the activism Ian and I used to do, which is just in Keene, not grand juries, but we would stand outside when jury selection was being done and we would hand them what are they called? Jury nullification packets.
Yes.
So if we could have some kind of packet made about this, Riley and I would help.
Yeah,
Let us
no, I
know
would
when.
appreciate it because this is a little bit different than the pettit jury. So your pettit jury is the...
Just volunteering Riley, but go ahead.
That's awesome. Well,
I think he'd do it.
Hate to say, but he won't see where he's going. Yeah. Anyway,
I think he'll
all right,
appreciate the idea.
So no, I think it'd be great. It's cool to talk to normal people who are given immense powers to I just want to say, if you deal with the pettit jury, those are trials. There's a ton of trials. Whereas if you go right to the grand jury, they oversee there's only one per county, and they oversee all of the indictments going out. So you can actually stop nonsense upstream. I feel almost like the pettit jury is kind of a last-ditch effort. Not that it's not a worthwhile effort to go through, but you need a fighter for yourself in the judicial system. And the grand jury is the only actual representative of the people in the grand jury, in the legal system, because everybody else is a member of the bar. Even the so-called oversight agency. So if you really want to get into current events with the Supreme Court justice who was pled out to a misdemeanor for allegedly helping her husband with some Port Authority deal or something, right?
Who? Which one?
I believe it was Marconi. Yeah, if you could pull up sources, that would be awesome. So it's not just me making stuff up. We can let the AI make it up. But no, she was punished by themselves. There is no real oversight over what they're doing by the public at large. So it turns out the Judicial Accountability Committee, I believe that's what it's called.
Was it in New Hampshire, by the way?
Judicial Conduct Committee.
The
Yes.
person that got
Yes.
arrested? Is it Anna Hance Marconi?
Yes.
Okay. So the quick AI thing, if you want me to read it real fast, says
Yeah.
the New Hampshire Supreme Court Justice Anna Hance Marconi, which I never dealt with that one with Ian. Have you ever seen her or anything? Pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor charge of criminal solicitation after facing felony charges for allegedly trying to influence the investigation into her husband, Gino Marconi. Whoa. A plea deal resulted in a $1,200 fine. I feel like a regular person would get way worse than that.
It just sounds like standard mafia stuff. The
Yeah.
Marconis and the Ports. This is like
Hold
this is
on.
an episode of
No.
The Sopranos. What is going on?
We have to take this out. That is racial stereotyping. But it's true. This is wild.
I'm 50% Sicilian. I'll stand on that. That
Yeah.
sounds like some mob stuff, dude. It sounds like not the mob, the mafia.
Mafia, yeah.
Everybody uses those terms interchangeably.
Yeah, I kind of didn't know that.
But the mob it refers to the Jewish mob, and the mafia is Cosa Nostra.
Oh.
So like the mob is like the Jewish side of the. But then you have the Irish mob. But when you refer to the mob and mafia, everybody's kind of like
It's kosher side?
yeah, the kosher side's the mob.
even AI
The
is
kosher
doing it.
Nostra.
This is crazy. I wrote, was the mob Jewish? And AI said, no, the mafia was not Jewish. It's
Yeah, it's synonymous, but no, the Jewish organized crime was just as powerful as, if not more than, Cosa Nostra. But we just don't talk. We don't make movies about the Jewish side of things.
It
But
says that there was
there.
something called the Jewish mob, and it says Jewish organized crime, large waves of Jewish immigration from Eastern Europe in the late 19th, and Eastern Europe's like the most corrupt
place
countries
in the world. Yeah,
and that's not me being mean or something. Like the Ukraine was called the most corrupt country in the world, and then we're all of a sudden like so invested in it, and like most Americans don't even know what the heck it is until, you know. Anyways, it says large waves of Jewish immigration from Eastern Europe in the late 19th and 20th centuries led to the creation of Jewish gangs, particularly in New York City, that specialized in activities like extortion, bootlegging, and gambling.
Oh, if we can go on a sidetrack, we could talk about Tammany Hall and something really cool.
Bugsy Siegel was Jewish? Sorry, just reading that.
Oh, wow.
It says Bugsy Siegel, Mikey Cohen, well, that makes sense. Sorry, Mickey Cohen, who were involved in many of the same criminal enterprises as the Italian mafia. I've heard of Bugsy Siegel. I didn't know he's Jewish.
Yeah, but you just assume they're Italian because you're like, oh, the mafia, man.
Exactly.
And they'll just push it all on the Sicilians. Yeah.
And there's this conspiracy theory that, like, Lady Gaga is Jewish, and she claims to be Italian American. I could see it because it's like, oh, kind of white, but kind of like some kind of
to that
ethnicity.
Point, so these aren't like, it's not radically defined racial lines. You know what I mean? Like, you could have an Italian guy get in with the Jewish mob because he's like a skullcracker or whatever, and marry a Jewish girl, and you know, like it's not. They don't. It's not as like racist as you think it is. You know what I mean? Like they would let other people like around their organization. It wasn't like strictly on racial lines. If you wanted to be made, that probably is a different thing. But being like an associate or just, you know what I mean? You couldn't function if you were as hyper racist in the past as they say we were.
How do we get on talking about like mobs and... Oh, yeah, we were talking about this judge in New Hampshire.
Oh, Marconi and the Ports, yes.
Oh, my God. You just accused her of being part of the Jewish mob, the Italian mafia, everything all at once. Oh, my God.
Yeah, well, allegedly.
No, but I don't really even think that... Let's say this is just some kind of hit job from some political enemy of some sort, right? Obviously, it's all political positions. The current chief of the state Supreme Court is a former attorney for the governor... Governor Sununu, right? So we have to all kind of admit that it's insiders helping insiders, and I'm not even entirely against that because the grand jury back in the day, if they wanted to get rid of people, they would just indict them through a presentment, and it was over because that person now can't run for office or do anything like else. I mean, it's the way for the people at large to say, yeah, this person is problematic and they're doing things that are harming us. It was actually how they fought back after Reconstruction.
It's kind of weird that's like just this one... It's like a weird thing that I had never heard of at all, and it's a little weird that it's just like...
I hate to keep carping on this, but I really haven't decided about it, so I just wanted to get it out there. But
it was fine. It's just like, it's like, why did they decide like, oh, this is a thing that the people have the power to do, but only if you're in the grand jury, like no other time. You know what I mean? Like,
well, because it could be so dangerous. Think about it. So they had issues with the grand jury kind of going off the reservation back in the 50s, and running with things that the United States Un-American Activities Commission
was the McCarthyism stuff?
The McCarthy era stuff.
That makes sense, actually.
And then they kind of ran with it, and people said, whoa, but if you look at it, it seems like very isolated cases. It's a few. Now, yes, it could happen, but okay, somebody indicts me as a communist. And, you know what I mean? It's kind of, you know what I mean? Everybody's getting coated with one title or another these days. So the point being is I think the overwhelming benefits of this institution, and I think we should trust our neighbors because that's who's on these things. If we don't trust our neighbors, why are we trusting the prosecutors then? How do you give one entity sole decision-making on what's illegal or not and what corporations have abused the people or not? So,
and the other thing about it is it's just hard to trust it nowadays considering... Juries consist of people who signed up to went and got their papers properly, and you know that they're more likely to be a statist. And then on top of that, they have their papers. That's the only way you get into a jury in New Hampshire is like you have to have a driver's license. More likely to be a statist.
Yeah, but let's be honest. A lot of people in the liberty movement have licenses. Me, you, right?
Yeah, I have a license too, but
not putting you on the spot. But
I just got called I got a call. My mom was like, "Hey, you have a letter from the state of Oregon saying you got to show up for jury duty."
Dang, that happened to me when I moved from
Let
Utah.
me call him, and I called the lady, and I was like, "Hey, I'm in like New Hampshire, and I ain't showing up for this."
Oh, you should have.
And she was like,
I'm
not paying no $3 $3,000 to drive across the country to.
Exactly. I
They should
understand
make
why
the
you
money
wouldn't, but-
available because it's so important. And getting people that are actually normal up there, be like, hold on, I'm not going for this. This is fake. You're gay. It's over. And start, boom, I want to investigate this. And, okay, going back in history again, this grand jury in New York in the 1930s, they ended up locking up Lucky Luciano and 100 other racketeers, this huge thing in New York. They went above the current prosecutor, the county attorney, and went right above him. And went to the judge and said, this is corrupt as hell. We got issues. We want a special prosecutor. They got him, and they kicked ass.
Maybe this is actually...
kicked butt. Sorry.
Oh, you can say that. That's fine.
Okay.
One thing is just occurring to me. Maybe this was a similar situation, but recently, also in Kentucky, I saw on this YouTube channel, his name is The Civil Rights Lawyer, and he's really awesome. He covers all these, like, corrupt cops and stuff.
I have seen that.
He's
Yes,
awesome.
good stuff.
So, in Kentucky, this guy... He called 911 because his house was on fire, but he was already in the process of trying to put it out. But he still called 911 for, like, fire department.
Yeah.
He's not a libertarian or anything. It's just this regular dude. And then what happens is a cop shows up first before the fire department, and he's, like, going outside getting, like, something to help put out his fire, right? And the cop is telling him, no, you can't. And he's like, I'm going to go. He's like, got this accent. He's like, I'm going inside my own house, my own damn house, and putting out the fire in my own damn house. And you're not going to stop me. And the cop, like, beat him up. Like, he's a big man. I don't know how this happened exactly. But the next thing you see on the, in this video from the cop's footage is this guy's completely bloody in the face and stuff. And he's pissed. He was like asking him, like, where are you from? Are you from here? Oh, you're not going to be from here very long. You ain't never met nobody like me. It's hilarious. But anyways, hilarious in a, like, unfortunate way. But then what happened that's awesome, the grand jury who the cops were trying to indict this man for, like, terroristic threats against the cop and stuff like that, they didn't indict this man who was innocently trying to, put out a fire in his own house. They indicted the cop with terrorism and stuff like that. So is that similar? Do you think that's what happened? It was like one of these things because it's like
this is at trial. Oh, the
grand jury did.
Oh, that's incredible.
Do you think that's kind of a case of what you're talking about?
You could say it's a runaway jury. I mean, they kind of went off script.
And then the judges were trying, or not the judges, the lawyers were. I don't know how it ended, but the lawyers were trying to say like, oh, they weren't allowed to do this, and we're gonna get this. Like, we're gonna stop this.
If I could just say there were a couple grand juries in D.C., or was it the same grand jury? Probably was. I forget. I don't know what their terms are because they keep all this so secretive. I just know that in New Hampshire, they actually published on the New Hampshire Judicial Council's website, who I have some issues with them because, their training materials are a bit lacking, and that's kind of what I have here tonight is a new training or handbook for grand jurors upon going into service, like other states have, like Florida. And I have excerpts from theirs. And when you lay out the full picture, it's pretty amazing the oversight these people are capable of. And in some states required by law to do, such as inspect the county jail in California. According to their statutes, they have to do that once a year, once a term, and also investigate any government agency.
And this is the jurors? The jurors have to inspect it?
They call it the Civil Grand Jurors Association out in California. There are 58 counties. Everyone has a grand juror. So, I think most of them do. It's like a volunteer organization where past grand jurors and current come up and they hang out and they talk about the thing and, what they're investigating and all that, And the fact is we have no training material except for this video from 1994-ish that has,
in New Hampshire, you mean?
Yeah, that has some woman that's all dressed up with hair. It's nuts. You really got to watch the video. It's kind of funny. It's on Vimeo.
I do want to see it.
Only has like 300 views. Well, I think it's around that. Probably me mostly clicking on it, getting good little excerpts. Because they mention nothing about presentments in there. They say, the history of the grand juries is doo-doo-doo, and they even put the stupid music on. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And they, they show, like they do a fake History Channel presentation. But they totally leave out the presentment aspect, and this book, this paper in the Yale Law Journal from 1994. I have it. Oh yeah, 1994. It was about in 1992 when Rockwell International pled guilty to 5 environmental felonies and 5 misdemeanors connected with the Rocky Flats plant, which manufactured plutonium triggers for nuclear bombs. The prosecutor tried to work a deal with the corporation and not follow what the grand jury wanted, which was indictment of Department of Energy employees, actual government employees, and actual individual members of the grand jury. I'm sorry, the corporation. And anyway, it's a really cool thing about how people stood up. So.
Oh, awesome. 603-283-6160 is the phone number. Bring up whatever's on your mind. I see we have a caller on the line. Sorry, we'll have to pick up the phones at the next segment because more Free Talk Live is coming up. Don't go anywhere. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live. More coming up.
When commercials come on, don't push the button. Instead, listen. Even if you don't sell things for a living, you're still selling in the various conversations and transactions that make up your busy day. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. So take a lesson from Madison Avenue. Often the fewer words, the more effective the message. Like Jiffy Lube, where you never need an appointment, or the Office Max ad that says, you supply the ambition, we supply everything else. How about online ticket broker StubHub.com, the way in when it's sold out, or CyberCupidMatch.com's seductive, go ahead, it's okay to look. How cleverly and succinctly can you distill your message? For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Kate Fisher. The US and Switzerland have reached a trade deal, according to the US Trade Representative Jameson Greer. The Swiss government said that duties will be reduced to 15%, down from 39%. Our US correspondent Mitch McCann reports.
On the social media platform X, an account linked to the Swiss federal government posted that Switzerland and the US have successfully found a solution. US tariffs will be reduced to 15%. The post thanked Donald Trump for what it called constructive engagement. Back in July, Mr. Trump said Switzerland would be hit with a 39% tariff after a Swiss delegation failed to secure a deal during talks in Washington. It's reported the 39% rate increased the cost of the country's exports of drugs, dairy, gold and watches. According to the US Trade Representative, the deal would involve establishing new manufacturing in the US for industries including pharmaceuticals.
The BBC has apologised to US President Donald Trump for airing an edited version of his January the 6th speech, which it says gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action. But it rejected there was a case for a defamation claim. Our Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair Samir Shah has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages for what they called false, defamatory, disparaging and inflammatory statements about the president.
After months of fierce debate, the German government has agreed on a plan to boost troop numbers. The plan is expected to be voted on later this year, with Berlin seeking to create Europe's largest conventional army. Europe correspondent William Denslow reports from Brussels.
Under the plan, all 18-year-old men will have to fill out a questionnaire to determine their eligibility to serve in the army, and by 2027 be mandated to undergo a medical check too. Germany currently has roughly 180,000 troops, but hopes to boost that to more than 255,000 in the next decade, with an additional 200,000 reservists. Defence Minister Boris Pistorius says that the more capable their deterrence is, the less likely the country will be party to a conflict. The proposal does not include compulsory enlistment, but the government says that it could be considered by Parliament if its targets aren't met.
From bureaus worldwide, this is...
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the number. That's 603-283-6160. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. With you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Jason Gerhard,
and Angelo.
And we have been not really even going off any show prep or anything specifically tonight, but there is always a lot to talk about. Beginning of the show, we were talking about how the Epstein things came out, but it's just, in my opinion, it's like, I felt like if anything was really interesting, like we would all have been hearing about it being talked, but there's so many obfuscation tactics they have, where it's just like, you mentioned Angelo something at the beginning and I'm like, I heard that was fake. You know, it's like, I hate this crap. And then like our caller from yesterday said, like, documents can be completely faked now, so it's like, it's hard to care, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess really at the end of it is, we know we'll never get a straight answer, so I think I'm just going to assume that they're all guilty.
Exactly.
From this point forward, like all of them,
like,
no
why
matter
would you act
what.
like that if
I don't
it
even
wasn't the
need
case?
a list. I feel like if I read your name in a magazine or see it on a billboard, like you're just part of it. You know what I mean? Like if you're in the top 25 artists, you're part of it. If I see your name as like a senator, you're part of it. I know. I'm just gonna assume from here on out, anybody famous, they're connected.
Hold on. What about Candace Owens? She's number one podcast in the world.
I think that she could control the opposition sometimes. I don't know.
I'd like to hear more about that, but
yeah, I don't.
It's not specifics. It's like
I question
a vibe.
Candace. I question the papacy.
So did you know
too,
that her
you know
husband?
What I mean? She's a hard tread, Kath.
Her husband's family is has been for generations in Masons. That's weird. I don't like that, and I find it weird. Plus, it's just a vibe. It's like, I have been talking about the trannies since 2016. Nobody wants to talk about it. It doesn't matter if I get the attention of like a YouTuber or something like that. They just treat me like I'm stupid. Even people who are anti-regular trannies on like Twitter and stuff, they don't want to talk about it, and they act like they try to stay away. And all of a sudden, Candace Owens comes out with this like breaking news, like record-breaking YouTube stuff about how the French president's wife is a tranny. It was like, I just don't know how to explain it. It's like, I think that she's one of those people that they let her give out little pieces when they're ready. You know what I mean? And so it seems like she's like, oh wow, this truth breaker, but like they didn't have Mystery 3000, the guy on YouTube who showed me that they were all trannies back in 2016. They didn't have him on the news like, hey, tell us everything you know, because they didn't want you to know then. They want you to know now for some reason. And it's just little things like that. You know what I mean? I don't have like huge, like I don't have some kind of a truth bomb. You know what I mean?
Maybe not
About
like an
Candace.
industry plant, but more of like maybe we let you exist.
That's a
kind of
possibility,
thing,
definitely. Like it might not be anything innately evil about her, or that she's completely in on it, but it could also be that she is. I just don't really trust any of these people that they've allowed to get huge. Just like,
yeah, but who says they're allowing it? I wonder if it can be breaks in the control mechanism.
YouTube is
there are
tightly
the
controlled.
Luke Skywalkers that break through the Matrix. I don't know.
Here's
I think
the thing.
as long as somebody's bringing forth truth though and holding those in power accountable to account, I think that's a win.
I think sometimes things are definitely true, but they are ready for us to know about it. Or they just got to critical mass where enough people know about it that if they don't bring it up at some point, it's going to make it look like their little guys they want you to believe in are not telling you the truth. So they let a little bit leak. And they make it, like in her case, it's like, oh, just this one tranny. Totally not. They're all trannies, but they're all trannies. Like, for example, look up any like celebrity that you've like found hot in your childhood or whatever, and look at them up and type in beach, Mila Kunis beach, anything like that.
Okay, yeah, I can
doesn't
see
look
some
like a
weird
man.
stuff. Yeah, I don't really.
I mean, it doesn't look like a woman.
Yeah, I hear you on that. That's bad.
I'm kind of distracted because Coconut's like distracted at the front door. I don't want him to bark, but whatever.
No, I
Maybe
don't.
he's off duty.
Yeah, well, Candace, I like her. I mean, I've been like, this is like 2016, 2015, like PragerU Candace videos. I mean, I watched those when I was younger, like, and Ben Shapiro and Charlie and all those people. And I don't know. I think maybe Candace, when that whole breakup with Ben Shapiro, like, maybe
like
she
friend breakup.
No, like
they dated.
No, yeah,
Oh.
like the friend, like when she got fired from Daily Wire, and there was this whole meltdown.
See, I don't know about a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
I never
man.
really paid attention. I just looked
Candace
at it.
wouldn't say. Candace started hating on Israel, and
Oh.
Ben Shapiro freaked out and fired her.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
I
I
didn't
know
know
about
she
that.
fired
over-
her. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
he fired her.
That gives a little more
Lost it.
text. I knew that she started being critical of Israel and got fired from. But I didn't know
it was
thing.
Ben Shapiro's
Wow, okay.
thing. So
Oh, we do have our caller back. In the last segment, Ridley was calling in. Oh, it looks like Ridley dropped. I didn't mean to drop him if I did that. So you can call back in, Ridley, if you're not just like tired of holding or had to go do something else. But we do have Sarah from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. What is on your mind?
Well, this time I was dancing around with the 243 vote sign, and I got a lot of honks. And I think it does help. Believe it or not, a lot of people thought the cops were cracked up looking at me, but
the cops were what?
They were looking at me. They were cracked up. They were smiling.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, a lot of people were smiling, but I don't know. I think it does help to get the vote out. You know, I'm dancing around because let's see, 30,000 more voters came out than the last time. So we broke the record for the mayoral election.
Oh, so which vote? Sorry. What is this that you're trying to get people to come vote for this time? Is it a new mayor election in Albuquerque?
Yeah, it's a runoff, and most people have no idea what a runoff is. So we're down to the last two, and we're just going to finish it off by voting for the one or the other. And then the two council race has the District 1 west side, and the other one has two council race. It's a runoff, but the last election, we had 150,000 people show up, and 4 years ago, we only had 120,000. So I feel like I brought out the voters.
All right, good
So-
job. I mean, the only thing is it the best way to get the results you want?
Well, she's a Democrat,
Yeah.
and she's actually technically a communist, right, Sarah? But you vote Democrat.
Right? Yeah. So yeah. So
in her
my
case, it might
angle
be.
is to. Well, the thing is, it's just Albuquerque is Democrat. It's a matter of bringing those. They're kind of stupid. They're kind of lazy. It's just a bringing them out to vote. That's the way that we're going to win.
I get it, but what's the point of winning? Like, what are you fighting for? What's your main? What's a concern of yours that you like? Why are you getting off the couch for this?
Well, there is a big difference. If we get the Republican, he's going to close down all of the homeless shelters, and he's threatening to put them, bust out the encampments and put them in jail, and treat the homeless people like criminals instead of helping them with the mayor that we got now. So to me, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say Sarah used to be homeless and she's not anymore. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah. I'm not trying to paint you in a bad light or anything, but you said before that you moved to New Mexico because you saw that you could get the most handouts in New Mexico of any other state, right?
Well, I don't know about that. It's my check site is the same no matter where I go.
Oh.
But the EBT is state. The state allocates it. So what I felt was that when I was here, they were so friendly with me being homeless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't get jacked up 25 years ago when I was here when I was like 21. I could panhandle. They left me alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was, I felt that they were friendly to homeless. Well, it turns out it's a Democrat state, and that we have a Democrat Supreme Court judge, and many people have tried to make panhandling illegal, and that got shot down. And this Darren White, this guy that wants to arrest the homeless, that's technically illegal because our New Mexico Supreme Court has decided you can't arrest homeless people because they refuse to go to homeless shelter. If they still are drinking, that might be with the federal state Supreme Court, they passed it. But our Supreme Court said that you can't arrest them just because they don't want to go to a shelter. I don't know how that works out.
Oh, hold on. I could just. You have something to say? I don't want to.
Well, no. Go for it. You're good.
Okay, I am curious here. So I'm a former state representative, and I'm just trying to understand the logistics on this, let's say. So why did you mention... Hold on a second. Why did you mention drinking, though? You said that if they're drinking, then you go back to they can't force them to go to a homeless shelter.
Yeah, because a lot of these shelters are like sober living. You have to be sober to get a bed.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you can't force them to be sober.
Maybe if Frank is listening, it'd be cool to have him call in because he knows firsthand about...
I already got arrested. I don't know if he's still in.
Oh, okay.
In Merrimack County, too.
Oh, well, that's good. Take some time off, get your thoughts together. But... what is it? The Keene Emotional Retreat? What is
Keene
it?
Spiritual Retreat.
Yeah,
that's what Ian calls the Keene Jail.
You really ought to consider it sometimes. When I was in Dover in Stratford County Jail back in 2007 and 2008, there was a guy who's like, "Hey, I'll see you for Thanksgiving," because I got locked up it was like October-ish or whatever it was. I was in there because I got sent down to Massachusetts. That was a whole other story. But he's like, yeah, he came back. They know how to catch the charges just to take him through the holidays. And it's just a big game.
Whoa.
And I think that's a whole nother conversation why the whole jail thing's a waste of time. But the homeless issue is real.
That's
the homeless issue is real.
And they give you a good Thanksgiving meal, right? So
nah,
better than if you're homeless and you get nothing.
Better than freezing to death.
Ian likes jail food.
But it's your own money. Let me correct this. Hold on. This is important.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody with a contraband cell phone from federal prison can call in. But the gifts they give you come from the trust fund. The trust fund is funded by a 30% tax on all products, and even higher percentage. Is it on like goods you get sent in? Like let's say leather work. You can make a hustle making leather goods, even by hand. They won't let them have the sewing machines. Why not? Let people work. Let people sell things. I mean,
while they're in prison, yeah.
Especially if they have kids. Men have a sense of pride of providing. And I don't have kids, so I had no sense. I just kind of laid back my time. But like, I really think that if somebody wants to work and they kind of have some means of paying restitution towards their victim, not the government. The government can't be a victim. I'm not going to pay into somebody's pension fund because they have hurty feelings from a mean tweet. You know what I mean? Like,
or a sandwich got thrown at them.
Like Cash Patel was filing.
No, I didn't see that.
Well, that's why dude ranches have like some of the best rehabilitation rates.
Oh, because they go and work.
Because they go and work on the ranch, and
that's
they
awesome.
like work with their hands, and they're pushing cows, and they're doing something with their time, and it's a lot of like low security guys, right? But they just get sent out to a ranch in the middle of nowhere, and
well, Sarah specifically, she does her thing because she doesn't want to have to work, and she considers working her thing that she does that she considers her job is getting the word out about like communism, right, Sarah? Or I'm not trying to like characterize you the wrong way. Let me know if I'm wrong.
Well, right now, all I've been trying to do was I am working to get the vote out. So I just been educating at the university. They have enough intelligence. I was going to go down there where what the locations were, and the students, they could come and vote as soon as they get here. And I met 2 new students from out of state. Well, we're from Seattle. We can't vote here. Oh, yes, you can. As soon as you come here from out of state, we passed it in 1962, but nobody knows about it. What good does it do? So I go out and get the vote out.
Just make sure you keep your message short. You got to keep your message short for the college kids. Maybe put it into like 10 planks or something.
Well, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Well, what they ask me if I'm from a candidate, they hate people from a candidate office. They want to decide for themselves. All I do is I tell them that students could register and vote the same day, student photo ID and transcript to prove that you live here. So I've been doing work like that, volunteer to get the vote out. But I don't. Barney, you don't think that that's work? You talk about communism. You know what? police officers, school workers, state-owned VA hospital, they all work. They all work for the state, the community, and they work really hard.
Yeah, but the
So
thing is, those are real
I'm against-
jobs in a way. Like, security is a real job, and it can be paid for by the private sector. It doesn't have to be done by the government. And no, I don't think going and trying to convince people to vote is a real job. Like, it's not something that people need in their life, and so they would pay you for the service. See what I mean?
Well, I mean, I just do it volunteer.
No, I think. Let me say.
you know-
Early, let me interject here. I think it's good what you're doing. I think it's good to talk to average people and see where people are at. The only thing I would suggest to you is that you not put your faith in candidates and you put it into something that's random people.
But for her, I think she's doing, like, this is the reason I'm trying to let people know about Sarah. It's like, she is the average communist in America, and she's getting things done because the system is made for people like her. Like, she is getting exactly what she wants. She moved to a place where she has said in the past something along the lines of she got the most free stuff because she lived in New Mexico because they are Democrat, and she is a communist. She's votes full blue. Like, it's not like she goes and votes for like candidates that are a communist party or something like that, because she knows that the Democrats are communist in a thin veil. Right, Sarah? Democrats basically are communist.
Right, pretty much. They have socialist agendas mostly. And if you do vote for the third communist party, the independent party, you're like voting for Trump, because they're not going to make it. You just throw away your vote. All you third party people, that's what we were telling you, that they soak up all the votes that's supposed to go to the Democrats, and then they help the Republicans get in. That's the point, and they don't want to hear it.
I would argue that it's. I would argue that it's all theater. That's what I'm at the point now where I think that hoping for change is just not going to happen that way. And I would encourage you to look into your grand jury system, where you have average people that can actually hold these people to account.
Not her.
So I was going to go back to what you were saying. Is that you can't. Some people don't want to stop doing drugs and drinking as soon as possible. You can't arrest those people because they refuse to go to jail. I mean, that's what our state Supreme Court have said. You know, so they were right claiming that I'm going to end homelessness camps, and from day one I'm going to clean up the city. He's full of it. He is completely full of it.
Well, Sarah, thank you for the call tonight. I want to be able to get in enough time for Dave Ridley. Dave Ridley, you're on Free Talk Live. David, are you in Colorado? Are you in Wyoming?
Wyoming.
Nice. Well, welcome to Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I had called in, maybe a year ago with a suggested solution to the sort of simmering Taiwan crisis.
Yes, just that China wants to take over Taiwan, right?
Yeah, and as with many of my solutions, mine was inspired by Free Talk Live.
Nice.
This is comparable to some solutions that Mark Edge had proposed, for World War II. What I had suggested, and I'm not super comfortable with this, but my ideas are not competing with perfect here. They're competing with World War III. So my suggestion was organizing some kind of an agreed upon withdrawal of the people of Taiwan who want to leave. You just give them all U.S. citizenship, let them all in if they want to come in. We would all benefit in the United States from that. And, probably only a third of them at most would come here. And so that was just an idea. And again, it's not perfect. But what's interesting is that it's actually, in some ways, it's starting to be implemented.
How so?
So the first thing that's happening, they're trying to pull the chip manufacturing to the United States and get it away from Taiwan, because the chips are, the chips that they make in Taiwan are really good, and they're not made for the most part anywhere else.
Yes.
Do you mean like the workers want to leave Taiwan and come to America, like to get away from this whole? Is that what you mean?
Well, I would guess that some of them would. But of course, right now, the Trump administration makes it really difficult to be an immigrant in the United States. So they're creating the problem, right? The Trump administration is sort of exacerbating the war risk, because Taiwanese people wouldn't want to come here anyway. But there's another thing that's going on. That's I guess 100,000 people have in Hong Kong have been granted citizenship in the UK and have fled to the UK. So this process is now under. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh my God! I didn't know that happened. When was this? Recent?
I saw it in a documentary. So it was probably about 6 or 8 months old. I tend to watch these things, maybe half a year after they come out, and so that's a little bit dated. It may be more people that have gotten out by now.
Interesting. Okay, I was actually there in May for a few days.
In the UK?
No, in Taiwan. In Taipei, and then also went up to the coast. And I don't know if you guys would like to talk about that, but I think it's interesting only in the fact that the story we've been given is fake and gay.
Like what part?
So, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to do that on the radio. Okay, so I went to Kazakhstan prior to that last year. And when you go through like these mountain passes, because I went to Almaty, the former capital, you go through some of these mountain passes, they still have the tank traps there, the tank, anti-tank stuff, and they're still kind of on a, hey, there could be a war here, because they're the...
What, from China coming up, or what?
Well, they're actually the largest landlocked country between China and Russia, and then there's another country, too.
Turkey?
Is it India? I forget. It's huge, right? And anyway...
Like Uzbekistan, like... in that area of the world?
Kazakhstan, in that third... I'll get a map here for a second, because I want to make sure we can...
Yeah, it is right there. It's like above... It's north of China. It's near Kazakhstan.
Well, west of China. It's like where they all kind of touch.
Or near... sorry, I said near... It's
like
near
north of Iraq and Pakistan? Yeah. Like the steppe.
Yeah.
Right? Proto-Indo-European steppe type
Well, I think we're all talking about the same area. It's like... I could mix up the exact little circle on
like
the
where
chin.
Khabib's from?
It's like an old SNL skit, Geography, according to New York City graduates, high school graduates, because, man, I have to tell you, just the ability, I think everyone, talking about jail for a second, let's backtrack. I think it would be beneficial for everyone to have a year-ish to say, you know what, I want to just read today. I want to just focus on
go to jail.
meditation and stretching and really getting to know yourself, where out here, somebody, I think it's a funny meme, but it was basically, you live at work and you visit your house.
Yeah.
And I mean, it really does come down to that for a lot of people right now, especially with 2-3 jobs. And I would actually like to recommend a debt jubilee, like in the Old Testament, every 50 years. Bam! All your debts go back, and the familial lands come back to their owners. Okay, I know it's communist. Maybe we'll get the former caller back on. But really, there's the corporate debt trap, I think, and also the student loans and everything else. There's a good move, I think, just to kind of knock it all off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of where we're...
Oh, I'm sorry. We went off course.
I was going to say, we're talking about the Kazakhstan, right?
Well, no. Let's go back to Taiwan. I'm sorry, Dave. Totally went off course. Taiwan. When I went to Taiwan, we went up north from Taipei. Nothing in Taipei. You don't really see military. You don't really see anything. It's pretty laid back. All right? It doesn't have this war vibe to it at all.
That's weird, because it's north. Like, shouldn't it be touching China?
Yeah, because I just went to El Salvador this week to Bitcoin Beach, El Zonte. Really cool. Highly recommend it.
Oh, wow.
They're building. I think it's time. I think if anybody has Bitcoin billionaires out there, this seems like an interesting thing going on, because you could really help the people out there, and also you can get the Toyota Hilux, the diesel version. That's what the troops ride around in. So they have one chair facing the driver in the back, got a guy chilling, and then they have one facing the back of the truck, facing the tail. Yeah.
What the? This in El Salvador?
They literally, and I don't want to speak on exactly, but the president went and arrested like 2% of the population. Anybody with gang tattoos.
I know about this.
Lowest crime rate in the South world.
If Dave wants to talk more, sorry that we did totally go off the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Topic. No, but I'm just saying, if he wants to talk more, I didn't hang up on him, but thanks for the call. If you don't want to talk more, Dave Ridley, and you can find more Dave Ridley at ridleyreport.com. But more Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
Ginger in Florida, you're on Free Talk Live.
I just thought I'd call and give y'all some news. We found out on a...
Wait, I thought your name was Paula. Are you trying to hide your identity, Paula? Are you trying to protect yourself from the NSA and the New World Order? I thought your name was Paula.
No, anyway...
Your name's Ginger?
Yeah.
Why has it been Paula every other time you've called?
I guess she does call, too. Anyway,
you have a twin
I just
sister?
want to give you some information. We just heard on another
Ginger.
program that, well, actually the whole world is going into a world collapse. They said we have till the 1st of June.
So what I want to know, Ginger, is do you know who Paula is?
Well, I'm trying to give you some information.
You've given me the information. You said the world's going to collapse in less than a week.
I'm going to start drinking now, and I'm not coming out of it until after July's over.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern at freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. This week saw the end of the longest US government shutdown in history. It was 43 days long. It broke with the Senate and then the House passing the funding measure before Donald Trump signed the bill allowing the government to reopen on Wednesday night. The majority of Democrats still opposed the legislation as it did not extend healthcare subsidies for millions of Americans. Ever since Ira Spitzer in Washington, D.C. watched the week unfold and sent this report as lawmakers were making their way back to the U.S. Capitol for that crucial vote in the House.
U.S. lawmakers are scrambling back to Washington from their districts around the country for a vote expected to take place later Wednesday. The key breakthrough came in the Senate on Sunday when 8 Democrats first crossed the aisle to schedule a vote on the bill, despite it not containing extensions on health care subsidies, the main cause of the shutdown in the first place. The shutdown has caused major disruptions to U.S. air travel, as well as food assistance and other government-funded programs.
There were new questions this week over the relationship between Donald Trump and the sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, and what Donald Trump knew about Epstein's behavior. It followed the release of emails by House Democrats, which called into question the president's previous statements on the matter. Ever since Mitch McCann sent this report.
In one email from April 2011 that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman later convicted of assisting him in his crimes, he wrote, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump." He also added that an unnamed victim spent hours at my house with him. In another email from 2019, Epstein wrote to the author Michael Wolff about Donald Trump. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop, he wrote. The allegations posed in the emails call into question to what extent Mr. Trump knew about Epstein's behavior after denying he was involved or had any knowledge of Mr. Epstein's crimes. Mr. Trump has never been charged with a crime related to Jeffrey Epstein.
The BBC apologised to President Trump this week for airing an edited version of his January 6th speech, which it said gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action. Ever since Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair Samir Shah has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. The Red Fort in New Delhi was the site of a deadly blast this week. The Indian government called it a terror incident. No group claimed responsibility, but police identified a key suspect, a doctor who was driving the car that exploded on Monday, close to the iconic tourist attraction, killing 13 people. Ever since Nehar Punia sent this report from New Delhi.
A day after police teams reportedly identified the prime suspect in the Delhi explosion case, we've now seen search operations take place at the university where he worked. He was a junior professor at a university in the neighbouring state of Haryana. The same university saw some doctors being arrested and detained just hours prior to the blast, and bomb-making material was found on them. Police teams have not said whether the two are directly linked or not. We've also seen police teams identify shops where explosive materials were bought for this explosion. These shops are located in the region of Haryana as well.
Also this week, Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, was hit by a suicide attack that killed 12 people and injured dozens more. The body of one of the last hostages remaining in Gaza was returned on Thursday as Phase 1 of the Gaza peace plan neared its completion. Ever since Blake Sifton sent this report from Tel Aviv.
Hamas returned the body of an Israeli hostage on Thursday night after issuing a joint statement with Palestinian Islamic Jihad that they had retrieved a body from the Khan Yunis area in southern Gaza. Israel is expected to return the remains of 15 Palestinians to Gaza in exchange on Friday. The bodies of 3 hostages now remain in Gaza of the 28 that were there when the ceasefire was reached last month. 2 of the deceased are Israeli and 1 is Thai. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
And that was the Week in Review. That's Feature Story News. Nick Harper reporting.
A reclusive deity hasn't written a new book in 2,000 years, and a local rescue dog is adopted for a couple weeks. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, in a devastating blow to the nation's laundry, 16,000 Americans were reportedly stained during the messiest day in U.S. history. Reports confirm that nearly 3,000 citizens received permanent stains on their good shirt from mustard splatter off a dropped hot dog, along with 12,000 cases of spilled coffee and other dark beverages ruining Americans' pair of hand-wash-only pants. Government officials further indicated that federal assistance for the nation's overwhelmed dry cleaners would be necessary. And in this week's local news, an elderly Rite Aid patron stretches out a conversation about toothpaste to prolong human contact. In other news, artifacts discovered buried in Washington, D.C. suggest humans once passed laws there. A self-centered child blames his parents' divorce entirely on himself. And a night of uninterrupted sleep really throws off a man's entire day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and the number is 603-283-6160 to get in on the conversation. That's 603-283-6160 to talk about whatever's on your mind. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Jason Gehard,
and Angelo.
And I would like to thank Jared for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Jared went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Jared and everyone who supports us. And again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. We really do appreciate everyone who's an amplifier with us. So again, that's amps.freetalklive.com, and we do have a caller on the line. In the last segment, we were talking to Dave Ridley about Taiwan, and so your basic idea that you're trying to get across to us, Dave, is that we should let Taiwanese people who want to separate from China, come to America?
Basically, let them have citizenship. It's just, it's a less bad solution than fighting World War III over Taiwan, I think.
Mm-hmm. So then China could have it.
Well, I'm just thinking about all the millions, maybe billions of dollars of tech that's sitting there, right? Like in the factories themselves.
Yeah,
I don't know how many
that-
people are
that
just going to like walk away from that. You know,
that evacuation is already underway, right? Like the chip manufacturing is being, there are steps being taken to make sure that Taiwan doesn't have such a monopoly on that chip making, and so some of that is being taken off of out of Taiwan, and the U.S. dependence on those chips is supposed to be, at least there's an attempt to make that go down.
Yeah, I heard the plant in Texas has been actually super struggling with getting, like, their just precision isn't what it needs to be, and they've been they keep like almost taking off, and then
what a chip
like a chip plant,
okay,
and they just can't get their tolerances in order for some reason. Like their math is not mathing.
Maybe if this happens, Dave, maybe if enough countries take on Taiwanese people who don't want to live under Chinese rule, maybe China will just get not as interested in the land anymore. Like, it's probably not the land they want as much as like the people, more people to rule over and stuff, right? Or maybe I'm wrong about that, but
I don't know. I think Taiwan would consider, or I'm sure that Beijing would consider it a win if they gained control over Taiwan.
Yeah, more land, more coast, I guess you're right.
After half the population had fled to other countries. I think China would, when they got that without fighting, that's pretty close to a win-win.
Oh, and Taiwan's a complete island. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
they have a high-speed train, though, so they can get around.
Wow.
Well, and it would also give China more control of the sea, right?
That much closer to South Korea and Japan if they ever need to do something.
It'd be huge for the Chinese Navy.
Yeah, all those places would be easier to defend against the united China than Taiwan would be to defend against a divided China. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's my best guess just from looking at the map, right? But the thing is, the problems that you're talking about with getting the chip manufacturing up and running in other countries, the fact that it's taking so long, that's all the more reason it needs to be done now, quickly, and before, not in the middle of a war. The other thing is that the other solution that no one ever seems to talk about, this is yet another of what I call the gun control wars that are either happening or they're about to happen or they're at risk of happening. All these places that are getting invaded, like Ukraine, Israel, and so forth, these are places with strict gun control, and that's the reason why they were able to be overwhelmed as easily as they were, although with Ukraine, they weren't really overwhelmed that easily. But the Ukrainians would have performed a lot better if they hadn't had that strict gun control, and the Israelis would never even have had to, they would have had no problem against those parachutes if people had been allowed to have firearms.
Well, I think the parachutes, the world's greatest security apparatus, some of literally the best secret agents in the world got surprised on their home turf by people Fortnite dropping from the sky. I find that a little bit hard to believe that somebody somewhere didn't know something.
Yeah, Israeli gun control it was so severe that I believe it's something like it was 2% of Israelis owned their own guns, and they were only allowed to have 50 rounds of ammunition. It's more like 7% in Ukraine before the war. The Ukrainians had a rush of brains to the head and immediately got rid of most of their gun laws right at the beginning of the war. So that was a good move.
Did they just suspend them, or did they after post-war, are they going to go round everybody up and take their guns away again?
I don't know. I mean, they didn't. I don't know. Whatever they did after the end of the Soviet Union, I bet they'll do that after the end of this war. But the other thing is that Taiwan, their number is 0%. 0%. There's 0 guns in the hands of civilians officially for every 100 civilians. And in New Hampshire, that number is 150. There's 150 guns for every 100 people, and those are just the guns in the hands of civilians. So this is what's triggering these wars and all this danger.
Yeah, well, yeah, really, I see exactly what you're saying. Like an armed society is a polite society. You're 100% right, Dave. I think that's a great perspective to take on it. That it is, a lot of these wars are happening because the population isn't allowed to defend themselves.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's base. That's a base take. I like that.
Now, people will say, in the case of Taiwan, it's a little different because of the fact that resupplying Taiwan would be very difficult, and guns in the hands of civilians isn't going to help much with that. And that takes us to these whole new levels of where society needs to be that might take 100 years to get there. But gun freedom isn't enough. You need weapons freedom. You need to be able to own your own destroyer if you want. And the population of Taiwan, it would, ideally, they would have their ability to own their own warships as individuals. But that's the kind of thing that would help break a blockade or prevent a blockade. But we're so far away from that even talking about it now, it would take 50 years for any real change to occur. So I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, I think it would just take. Destroyers are are so expensive. I don't know. Maybe like a Jeff Bezos type could buy a few of them and field his own navy. Maybe, yeah. I guess, yeah. If the chip manufacturers could just get their own navy. Yeah, I would support that.
In the near future, what I guess would be practical is for people to have long-range drones that they're able to use to break a blockade from. They could have a little base on the western coast of Taiwan and launch a drone with a 100-mile radius and have it attack a Chinese warship. That would be something that could be developed within the next 5 years. But again, the civilians are not being allowed to do these kinds of things. It's all being handled by the central government at Taipei, and they're bringing their doom upon their own heads.
The problem is, if you don't, the history of Taiwan is so interesting, and I think it would be kind of worthwhile to address what it was which was a refuge for Chiang Kai-shek and the nationalists against the communists. Mao Zedong was running around. He was trying to fight them. Then the Japanese came in the meantime, and they just started. We were just talking about this off air. They really punished the people of China at the time with the rape of Nanking, which was their capital at the time, and people just jumping in freezing water to not die. It was bad news. But I don't know if giving them citizenship is the best way to do it.
Well, that's what I think. I guess kind of what Dave is floating is like. Maybe the second best option is like arming the citizen, the citizen of Taiwan, and giving them some actualization in their own lives. You know what I mean? Like there is some agency in their own defense, and not having to rely so much on the United States and Taipei and their dollar. Maybe they can do it themselves. But that's like you said, Dave. They're so strict over there. Like that's a Hail Mary and a half from ever happening.
Yeah, and we can't make them change their own policies. We shouldn't intervene inside Taiwan to make them change their own policies, but we can walk away from them.
Yes, that's true. Is there any other countries you think we should walk away from?
Well, all of them.
Yeah, all right, there you go. And that's the right policy. They need to stand on their own. Unfortunately, it's pretty horrible that we've put them in some of these positions.
Well, it looks like we have another caller on the line, so thank you for the call, Dave Ridley, and you can get more Ridley at RidleyReport.com. We have an unscreened caller on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind? Who are we talking to here?
I agree with Dave.
Oh, excuse me. About what?
I agree with that we should give Taiwanese citizenship. I think we should kill two birds with one stone, right? We should grant them citizenship and trade them for ungrateful anarchists.
I think it would be kind of cool because like somebody who wants to leave Taiwan because they don't want to be under Chinese rules more likely to be like actually anti-communist. So I don't really see any problem, honestly.
Oh yeah, what do you think about trading them for anarchists? Taiwanese will probably be more productive.
What are you talking about? As if like an anarchist is going to be living in anarchy in Taiwan when China takes over? Like you don't even make any sense. Like his whole idea is can just leave. Anarchists can just leave because he thinks we agreed to live under the United States Constitution. He says it's exactly like an HOA.
What about? But I think the New Hampshire.
And he just talks over people. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say New Hampshire state constitution takes precedence over the U.S. Constitution, right?
No, well, the supremacy clause says otherwise.
So you're trying to tell me that? Yeah. So some bureaucrat tells you he's in charge, and it's all of a sudden he puts a black dress on, and it's over. I don't know.
That's what that's what the agreement was when New Hampshire decided to become a state, right? You weren't part of that. You weren't even part of New Hampshire originally, probably.
Wait. You just agreed that we weren't part of any of the decisions on how this works. Like, if I wasn't part of it, I'm not in a freaking contract with the United States. Like, the people who decide for New Hampshire to become a state didn't even ask me. So how the hell am I part of an actual contract?
One interesting thing to consider is that no legislature is bound by a former legislature.
What does that mean?
So no law that one legislature creates is permanent. It's just how it is. And so I don't understand how there's no permanence with these people that are supposed to represent the people and the public trust. They can just do whatever they want, but it reverts back, but the people have no option.
Okay, I'm hanging up on him because he's just being ridiculous.
Does that make any sense? Am I kind of making sense?
Well, I just kind of think that they're all like that. Like the president of the United States is always like making these executive orders, and the next one just overturns it right away. It's like pointless. You know what I mean? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, so the whole point is our rights are restricted, he's saying, according to prior written declarations. But why is it that the legislature has no time limit on what they can change? They can change anything all the time. So the whole point is let's go back and let's go play that game. Let's go all the way back. I hate to go back to the grand juries, but that's, you know what I mean? We got to get that spirit back, and I kind of agree with them, but anyway, it's just a division thing. Anarchists, get out. You get out. We can all work together and get these foreign actors out. That's the key thing. It's not just where you're from, but it's your ideology.
Our land is occupied. It's occupied. It's not that I'm like agreeing to live under the HOA called the United States government or the New Hampshire government even. Like, one thing that a lot of people in New Hampshire do that I really appreciate is like audits of the freedom here. And it has genuinely changed the culture. When you go in a courthouse in New Hampshire, you're actually like respected in a way a little bit feared compared to Massachusetts. Have you ever been to Massachusetts court? I just did for the first time. I have an insane story.
Federal or state? Federal,
State.
I've been to the Boston one, but not state.
It was the Springfield, Massachusetts. It was probate court, but it's all in the same building in Springfield. So probate's second floor. I went there for a friend of ours. I guess I don't necessarily need to say whose. Family court hearing. And it's our friend that just recently got arrested and bailed out. I showed up. I sit down with my friend who drove me. I whispered to my friend who drove me, and there was literally no way anyone around us could have heard me. I wasn't being loud. I just whispered to my friend. I said, "Oh, I wonder which one is his ex-wife." But you wouldn't have heard that because I whispered in my friend's ear, and even the people sitting like next to me couldn't have heard. A cop, it was actually a bailiff, but they dressed just like cops there in white shirts, and a cop that was sitting where he could see me, or standing where he could see me, just turns to me immediately and in like a loud voice says, "No talking." And I was just like, my jaw was like literally open for the like second while I'm reacting. I didn't say anything. I was just like, I was considering saying something, and I was like, I guess I don't want to get my friend in trouble. And I just like didn't say anything. And then another woman cop comes up 2 seconds later. They're being so much more disruptive than me freaking whispering in my friend's ear in the stupid pews. And this woman cop comes up and says, "Are you here for court?" Like very like aggressively. And I'm like, "No." And she was just like, I'm just asking because if you're here for court, I can get you your paperwork. So are you here for court?" And I was like, "I'm just answering. No, I'm not here for court." And she walks away for like 1 second, comes back and says, "You're going to have to stand up and come with me." And I said, "No, I don't have anything to talk to you about." And she said, "All rise." And the judge stood up and ran out of the room like she was about to get shot. And then I was just like, "Well, I'm leaving, but I'm not talking to you." Like,
Were you recording this?
No, they don't let you at all in Massachusetts. You have to request weeks in advance. They can just say no. And then probate, I don't think they let you at all because it's like, oh, children involve children. But Chris Wade requested to film a regular court, like not probate, in Massachusetts, and it was like insanity too, but I wasn't there. You'll have to ask him about it. It was like any little movement he made, they're like stopping the whole entire thing to yell at him, and just ridiculousness. And what I'm trying to say is the people who audit in New Hampshire have completely changed the culture to where, like, in comparison, you're treated like a human being in New Hampshire by the courts. In Massachusetts, that was like, I hurt her feelings. Clearly, I just hurt her feelings by my tone of voice. I'm not joking. I was in the courtroom to watch my friend's probate hearing for 10 seconds before I got kicked out. Like, my rights were obviously, what's the word, harmed?
Violated.
There you go. Thank you. My rights were obviously violated. I was like basically threatened by gang members, which, by the way, there were 10-ish bailiffs in there. What the hell is the reasoning for that?
I think, especially, I think for family court, it can get crazy.
It doesn't, though. I mean, it doesn't. Like, judges aren't getting killed left and right. In
I guess not judges, but I could see like a dad freaking out in family court.
But is he freaking out because the court is not actually run like a court of law?
For sure. The
family
That's
court.
Why they're gonna
pack a bunch of muscle-bound dudes in there to hold somebody down. That's
in
just
New Hampshire, when I went for a guy was, what was the word? It's when you try to get somebody to not be allowed to come to your house anymore because he was threatening to kill me.
Restraining order?
Yes, restraining order. I got a restraining order against a guy who was coming to our house saying Ian owed him billions of dollars, threatened to kill me, locked me outside of my own house. He had to get chased off with somebody pointing a gun at him, and he wouldn't leave until then. So all I did was go and get a restraining order against him. But what I was going to say was there was one fat old man bailiff, and I was just like, they made all my friends leave the courtroom for this part because they were going to testify. So, like, I'm just alone here with this insane person who said he wants to kill me multiple times. There's nobody but this fat bailiff and the judge. Like, I would just die if he decided he wanted to kill me or something. Like,
yeah. I mean, if you're in that situation, I'd rather have the 6'5" Jack dude as the bailiff.
But my point is that in New Hampshire, they don't have, like,
10 of them.
Crazy... Yeah, exactly. They don't have a crazy presence of cops in the room as if you're... It's like everyone, even people there to spectate,
I think in some
like I said,
states,
are just
bailiffs
treated
are
like...
just police officers.
No, they aren't. Me and
In
Ian
any
had this whole
state?
conversation. Oh, no, I meant in Massachusetts, sorry.
No, okay.
I had this whole conversation with Ian. He said they're not. They don't have guns, and they just dress like cops for some reason. It's like,
That's
it's just...
crazy.
It made me think, I was like, why are all these cops in here? Like,
yeah.
I didn't
I
know
think
they
in
were the
some
bailiffs.
states, the bailiffs are actual cops, though.
I don't know, but I was telling Ian, I was like, and why the hell were there like cops in there, like 10 cops in there? I thought they were like people there waiting to testify or something, and he was like, nope, were they wearing white shirts? They're just the bailiffs. And I was like, holy crap. But my point is that you're treated like a criminal. It's like you're in the courtroom at all and you're not part of the court. You're suspect. It's insanity, especially in Massachusetts. That was insane. And she was falling behind me with her arm out, like she was trying to like push me forward. She didn't touch me. And I was like looking at her arm and I said, don't touch me. But she was like, and I said, I'm not talking to you when I get out there. I'm just leaving. I have nothing to talk to you about. And she was like, I'm not talking to you either. So I obviously like slipped her up because she was talking to me. She thought I was saying, I'm not talking to you, which doesn't make any sense. If I was saying when I get out of the courtroom, I'm not going to talk to you. I have nothing to talk to you about.
Well, this is interesting. The Judicial Conduct Committee is responsible for disciplining New Hampshire judges here. So the problem is that all the people on that committee are actually, it seems, members of the New Hampshire Bar. The New Hampshire Bar also...
Wow. Of course they're never going to do it, yeah.
But this really blew my mind because they have their own law within the law, right? Mm-hmm. And this comes down to Supreme Court justice recently getting disciplined by the Judicial Conduct Committee, which the Supreme Court oversees.
Are you talking about the lady who...
Yeah, Marconi, was it? I forget the name.
Marconi, yep.
But
forget about it.
But get this. So it consists of like, what is it? 3 judges, a clerk of court, 2 lawyers, and 5 lay persons. But one of the lay people is selected by the Speaker of the House, and he's actually an assistant judge, a Superior Court judge. He's also a member of the bar, and that's the public member appointed by the Speaker of the House who is supposed to in New Hampshire. But in New Hampshire, I find it amazing that we have so many state representatives where 25% of them are Free Stater supportive, let's say. And I think that's important because this is something that we need to push back on. Hey, where is the public's oversight? And then you come back to, I was going to go there, the grand jury. But they're also the ones that really should be keeping an eye on what's going on in the courts. And back in the day, they were actually stationed in the sheriff's office because they had to oversee his office by law, by statute. And I think maybe we need to do that, is remove the grand jury from the courthouse under this air of they work for them, when they don't. They work for the people.
Yeah, well, that just sounds like that was like a check and balance that was built into the system that we've kind of eroded away with time and kind of and don't educate people about it all. And that's probably by design. They do that. They do that on purpose.
But this whole bar association thing is really interesting when you start thinking about how.
Well, no, it just sounds like qualified immunity. Like we're going to investigate ourselves and find that upon our investigation of ourselves that we've done nothing wrong. Shocker! Like that's it's just the buddy club. It's just another part of this pyramid. The mob that controls our state of being at the moment. This organized crime syndicate. This is just another facet of that pyramid scheme. You know what I mean?
Well, good news. The public representative appointed by the Speaker of the House, who actually, if anybody's in town, we'd love to see in Merrimack County. He's speaking at the Merrimack County meeting, the Republican committee meeting on Wednesday night. So maybe we could ask him this question.
What time? Do you know?
It's at 6 p.m.
And where?
Boscawen, Allens of Boscawen.
603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere, and you can still call in 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live. More coming up.
Hey, you are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Kate Fisher. The US and Switzerland have reached a trade deal, according to the US Trade Representative Jameson Greer. The Swiss government said that duties will be reduced to 15%, down from 39%. Our US correspondent Mitch McCann reports.
On the social media platform X, an account linked to the Swiss federal government posted that Switzerland and the US have successfully found a solution. US tariffs will be reduced to 15%. The post thanked Donald Trump for what it called constructive engagement. Back in July, Mr. Trump said Switzerland would be hit with a 39% tariff after a Swiss delegation failed to secure a deal during talks in Washington. It's reported the 39% rate increased the cost of the country's exports of drugs, dairy, gold and watches. According to the US trade representative, the deal would involve establishing new manufacturing in the US for industries including pharmaceuticals.
The BBC has apologised to US President Donald Trump for airing an edited version of his January the 6th speech, which it says gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action. But it rejected there was a case for a defamation claim. Our Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair Samir Shah has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages for what they called false, defamatory, disparaging and inflammatory statements about the president.
After months of fierce debate, the German government has agreed on a plan to boost troop numbers. The plan is expected to be voted on later this year, with Berlin seeking to create Europe's largest conventional army. Europe correspondent William Denslow reports from Brussels.
Under the plan, all 18-year-old men will have to fill out a questionnaire to determine their eligibility to serve in the army, and by 2027 be mandated to undergo a medical check too. Germany currently has roughly 180,000 troops, but hopes to boost that to more than 255,000 in the next decade, with an additional 200,000 reservists. Defence Minister Boris Pistorius says that the more capable the deterrence is, the less likely the country will be party to a conflict. The proposal does not include compulsory enlistment, but the government says that it could be considered by Parliament if its targets aren't met.
From bureaus worldwide, this is...
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and to call in, the number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And lots of stuff to talk about tonight, but you can bring up whatever's on your mind if you call that number. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Jason Gerhard,
and Angelo.
And it is nice to have different hosts on tonight. Jason, you living out in like farther away from here, so yeah, obviously I don't have to say where or whatever.
No, it's fine. I represented it, Northfield, New Hampshire. Great state. I mean, great town, and they have.
Didn't they just have like 37 people arrested?
That was Franklin, which I also represented. Okay. The feds came in.
Wait, recently?
Yeah, over the summer, there was a huge fentanyl thing.
Oh, that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I'm of the position that the real drugs are moving in by the government. I don't think people are putting them in their exhaust
they might
pipes.
use people as pawns, you know. Sorry.
But we have drones that can survey everything all the time. I'm not buying it. The drug boat stuff, I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm a little
weird.
bit confused. We
were talking about that yesterday. Apparently kids have been killed on these boats.
Yeah, the idea that this is just cool is
Venezuelan
nuts.
kids. It's
on
insane.
the supposed drug boats?
Yeah, the supposed drug boats that Trump is saying, oh, it doesn't matter because there was drugs on the boats or whatever. Drug dealers on the boats, and he's just
you can send a drone.
How many kids? What is
and think
not
about
to blow
the
it
blowback
up, but
for
to
that.
disarm it.
Like, it's one thing to have blowback. Blowback is real,
Yes.
even when it's a country that like isn't anywhere near us, like in the Middle East. So imagine how much worse it's going to be for like Venezuelans. There are Venezuelans in America.
Is it Madero?
Yeah, I forget if that's how you say it. All of a sudden it sounds wrong, but I could be right, or you could be right.
Is it Madero?
We were just talking about him yesterday too.
I mean that.
Maduro.
Maduro.
How do you say it?
Maduro.
Okay.
You're right. It is Maduro, not Modero.
Maduro. There it is. Maduro.
Maduro. Well, all this is going to do is, the blowback. This is just going to push the people into the arms of this despot. Right. Like, I'm not going to. This guy, the president of Venezuela, is not a good person. Right. I don't care which way we cut it. I don't care if you want to call that I'm propagandized.
He's like not fat while people are
he's not a good guy.
Starving.
That's fine to say. He's not a good guy. But
hold on a second. Let's real quick.
Oh wait, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. Who is a good guy in politics these days?
Well,
really, they're
true.
all bad.
Nobody. But I'm just saying, like, you're gonna push the Venezuelan people deeper into the arms of this.
Yeah, I can see that. If it's like, oh, now we need to be all like, we love Venezuela, like come together under this Maduro guy because they're so mad about the Trump killing
how
children.
Hyper-conservative Maduro is?
Wait,
you
what?
know what hyper-conservative he is?
No, I didn't hear that.
No, he banned abortion. He's banned gay marriage. He's done a bunch of like super right-wing stuff. I mean, he's a despot dictator. But he quote unquote trying to restore like values to Venezuela, and
that's actually
it's crazy. But it's just gonna push people like deeper into his arms, especially if the U.S. keeps blowing kids up, right? Like he's
of them.
But that's just how the common man reacts, right? They're gonna.
I say we send in observers.
I'm not saying it's.
I say we send in observers, retired politicians, send them over there on a fact-finding mission. That's how you really find out what's going on. You need to be over there and see what's going on. Because getting back to Taiwan real fast.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah, but when you went up, I went up north to the coast, the closest you can get to China, there are no defensive measures. There's just these seaside resorts. You can't go swimming, they say, because the waters are dangerous.
Like sharks?
I think it's mined up to you know what. That's what I think's going on. But that's
mind makes sense, but also like, can't you like
pretty close to North Korea.
Like not stingrays, but like jellyfish? Aren't there like a lot of jellyfish in that part of the world? Like man-o-wars, and getting stuck in like a group of jellyfish, like you're kind of cooked.
But it's kind of like you should be able to take that risk yourself if you want, but at the same time, sounds like maybe something's hidden there, like he's saying. Or
it probably is mined out the butt.
They don't want you to go
I would
out
just
on a
say
boat
this. Well, because, port sabotage is a very big thing in real wars, so I wouldn't doubt that they don't want people swimming around knowing exactly what to do if they need to do it.
Well, it's like the same thing. I know, like, I've been to the Hoover. Have you ever been to the Hoover Dam?
No.
I have not either, and I always wanted to go.
There's like a buoy system, and it's like don't come within 150 yards of the dam or you're going to get lit up.
What do you mean, like
gunned down?
They'll kill you?
Yeah, because
wait, why?
Because they think you have an explosive on your boat. You're driving it into the dam to like cause terrorism.
Okay, that makes
so it's like this
sense,
super restricted area right next to the dam. You can't even get close to it. Like they got people watching all the time, 24/7.
Makes a lot of sense because it'd be like a tsunami in the middle of Las Vegas or whatever.
Yeah, it would wipe out Vegas. Yeah, it would wipe it out.
Whoa.
It'd be catastrophic, and it would destroy like California's water system, and
whoa, okay,
and then LA would die because they get all the water from the Colorado River too.
Yeah, and it could be something like China doesn't want people seeing too close into their inland because you know how they're like completely cut off from the rest of the world, like in a way with their internet situation, their firewalls and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they just they don't want people intermixing and stuff.
No, that makes sense. Well, if I was China, I would put a bunch of resorts on the coast, just as like a.
He was saying in Taiwan you can't go up on the top, or you can go up on the top. You can't swim, right? In Taiwan,
off the coast, you couldn't.
Can you see how far away is it? Can you see mainland China from Taiwan?
No, you couldn't see it. It was like 20 miles, but you could see it if you had the right camera.
Yeah, so
flat Earth. Just saying. Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, but it's within. You could.
It's within a night's journey, striking distance.
Less than the Cubans.
You could take a rowboat.
I was going to say less than the Cubans come to America.
Yeah, that's like 60 miles, isn't it? 50 miles?
I don't know.
From Cuba to
And we're also
Miami.
assuming, when we're talking about the 100,000 refugees from Taiwan, we're also assuming they're legit. And how are you going to...
They're not like an Afghani that got there and he's coming to be a terrorist. That's the thing that America would try to sell you. But
or just Chinese intelligence. I mean, they would probably have the people that could move the people to do the thing with the people. And I just think we got to kind of focus on our own problems. Things are no bueno here, especially in the court system. When people are losing their children for insanity, and then they're forcing these said children to get vaccines and all this other kind of medical care. If we have children being taken, and that's the building block of society, then we really need to kind of focus on that and let Taiwan kind of deal with their whole situation. Because
I don't want to. If they start a war over there, I don't want us to get involved. And the thing is, I know that our government will make us get involved.
Can they though? Can they? Do they really have the personnel capacity?
What do you mean? Like, do you mean the military? They'll just do their orders. I think. Do what they're ordered.
I don't know if we really have enough people.
Well, they'll get involved, if not be the biggest.
Boots on the ground soldiers are nothing anymore, man. We got everybody sits with joysticks in cubicles and they just fly drones. Yeah, kill people with drones, man. Like, have you watched? Like, I've watched a lot of the Ukrainian
it's horrible.
Just the FPV drone stuff is it's nightmare fuel is what it is. But that's what they'll do. We'll just use drones, and it won't even be boots on the ground. It'll be a score streak from Call of Duty, man, and you won't even think about it until the drone gets blasted on your town.
What do you think about this? People were saying during the government shutdown that there was fewer chemtrails in the air, and I was trying to look whenever I thought about it, but most days it was actually raining and stuff during the government shutdown when I thought about looking. And then the day after it, I have a picture. The day after the government opened back up, I was about to go get in a car, hang out with my friend, and I saw 3 chemtrails, and it stood out to me because I hadn't seen them in a while. You know what I mean? It was a clear, most of the sky clear with like there are clouds in the sky, but not like totally overcast, and 3 in a row chemtrails or trails of some sort, and it just really feels like they literally stopped during the. People were saying they stopped during the shutdown and then picked back up the day it came back.
Yeah, they every time I see them, they make me so angry because I know what it is, and I actually put a bill in on that in 2023 that I can't say it kickstarted everything, but Tennessee ended up outlawing them in Florida as well. And the problem comes down to enforcement, but there's technology now to actually to take your phone, simply point it at the sky and determine if that plane's chemtrail is scientifically possible, because there's all this data as far as weather goes, because planes need to know. I just went on a flight. Anyway, they say, hey, we're going to hit some turbulence in 80 miles. Buckle up.
Yeah,
they already know where the moon... So this guy, it's called Skyglass out of Florida. The owner is really cool and helpful, and he really wants just people to know what's up in the air, because some of these 30% of planes are actually hidden on other flight tracking stuff, because the FAA, they pay money to the FAA to get on this list. So it's really kind of crazy going, wait, what's up there? And what are they doing?
So wait, like those websites where you supposedly can look at all the flight data and you can track people, and it says that 30% of planes in the sky aren't
masked. They call it masked.
So does that mean like a fake name? Are they still on the system with a fake data?
So what he uses, he goes decentralized on this whole problem, and you have the transponders can be picked up with Raspberry Pis that people simply set up, and they have like a 200-mile, I think it's radius, on picking up aircraft that they're simply getting that data directly, and then they crowdsource, or how do you say, crowdfund, whatever you want to call it, right? All that data, and it goes into a separate database, and that's what he's using. And it's really cool because and now it's only for the laptop.
Oh, so it all goes into its own aggregate?
It's an app only for iOS, I believe, for Apple. But what's cool is like when on the website itself, well, when you try it out, it's really cool because you can actually click on that plane that's flying right now in front of you, and you could see the latest picture that someone took of it. I forget the website, but you have these plane nerds that go, "Oh, there she is," and take a picture, and it automatically populates.
Weaponized autism, dude.
Dude, I love it though. But that's what it's about. It's about people. Oh, there she is. But it's about people overseeing the government, and airports are creepy. I heard about some conspiracies with Denver Airport. Just saying, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's just creepy that the airlines are run by the government at all. Like, why can't that be private? That's so.
Or at least give people oversight. That's
be more transparent.
Yeah, because in I was talking about the grand jury, they can go say, hey, we want to look at something. We don't trust this corporation, because they can also look at corporations and get their papers, their internal emails. It's so amazing. I'm telling you.
And did you hear that recently the TSA started letting people go in without taking their shoes off and stuff? It's like, why are we suddenly safe from shoe bombers or whatever?
Yeah, I actually go for the pat down every time. I refuse to play along, and sometimes it depends if I'm in the mood, but I'll kind of be creepy. I'll do the whole go easy. It's my first time. So one time I was really creepy, and the after I'm getting done, I'm putting my jacket on, and one of the women didn't realize it was me that had just gotten patted down, because they take you into the center, like, they do a whole little spiel, and she goes, "Yeah, what was up with that guy?" I want it all, because they said, "What do you?" Oh, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting what the comment was. Yeah, I want the whole thing. That's what I said. Yeah, I want the whole thing, the pat down, right?
Oh,
and because it's funny, and because let's be honest, 9/11 is not what they told us. So I'm tired of the security theater. I grew up an hour east of New York City, and I'm so frustrated with all of it.
So. No, I always get patted down. I go through the scanner and they go, "There's two things right at the front of your thighs. We're gonna have to pat you down." And I go, "Oh, really? All right, all right, go for it, buddy." And I always have basketball shorts on. And my favorites, because I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", 330 right now. So when I'm in Florida, I sweat, dude. So I really get in there, TSA agent. Do you want to work for the government? This is what you want to do with your life, is grope me? Oh yeah, buddy. Let's have a ride.
The worst thing that's ever happened is bra clasps have metal, so they'll just touch the middle of my back and then let me go. It's so annoying. And you know what they've said to me before? Oh wait, no, this is actually in Boscawen County Jail. They said oh, one thing you can do is just not wear bras to make it easier whenever you're going through and the thing won't go off. And I'm just like, what the hell? Don't say that to people. But I didn't have it the worst. There was this girl that was telling me she has big boobs, and she was telling me that
she has big metal underwires and stuff.
I guess the cop was getting creepy with it, always being you don't have that bra on again. It's just, I was like, oh my god, that's bad. Yeah.
Well, it's so wrong. It's so wrong being in a position of authority and abusing it against people who cannot fight back. What is that guy going to do now? Confront the guard who's
been hitting on his wife?
Yeah, that is just such a...
Oh, yeah, the guy, yeah.
Because everyone knows. That's the one thing about prison life is... It's everyone, it's a small town, small city. Everyone knows everything. You know what CO is going out, what CO. If the associate warden punched the captain in the face in the parking lot, which actually happened when I was in Fairton. It's... Yeah, so We need more oversight in those places. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, Boscawen's like a really bad part about it, or bad on that part, I think. But
wait, did they hit you with the scanner at the airport? The thing that looks through your clothes?
Oh no. Oh, at the airport, yes.
Not at Boscawen, though, right?
No, Boscawen, it was metal. So it's
There's
like
like
you
a
walk
metal
through a
detector.
thing, but it's metal, and it like didn't go off for me every time. But when it did, so I have these shoes that are like platforms, maybe like 4-inch platforms, and sometimes they'd be like suspicious about that. They weren't really that bad in that kind of way to me, but there was this whole thing, and I remember you were a rep, and I got people to call in, and you did. I don't know if you remember, and I really think that you were the one that helped me, because I was leaving one day, and they told me not to do what I did every other time, which other cops told me to do. You know how cops like to play this game where they tell you, one tells you one thing, the other tells you the other thing, and they pretend you're disobeying because they're telling you a fucking... Oh, man, I just had to dump myself. My bad. But they're telling you one thing, the other's telling you another thing. It makes me really mad. So I was leaving, I grabbed my ID from the thing, and this cop tells me I'm not allowed to grab my own ID, and I have to wait for somebody to bring it to me. I was like, what are you talking about? I've been doing it this way for like 6 months, and this is the only way to do it. You guys aren't usually here. It's this whole thing, like, you'd have to be there.
It sounds like a setup. Yeah, makes sense.
And I was like yelling back at him, like I'm getting my stuff out of the locker, and I'm like trying to just get out of there, but he still keeps talking to me and being really rude to me, and I called him a faggot because he was being a faggot, not saying he was gay. I'm saying he was being a faggot. And he got so mad that when I left, he went to Ian's cell and told him, like, just so you know, I just banned your wife from visiting you for a month. And I got lots of people to call them in, and like nothing was being done about it. But the day that you called in and you were a state rep, I really think that they listened, because a guy that was above that cop came to Ian's cell and told him that cop was actually not allowed to ban me, and apologized to Ian.
Oh, wow, that's huge. Apology is important.
Crazy.
Yeah, apology is important.
That doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
That's because you just want to be treated with some decency and like a human being.
It's just that I
even
hurt his
if you are
feelings.
locked up, like you just want to be treated not like an animal. You know?
as one guy I was locked up with, an old cell, he said...
Oh, the one who I called a faggot, by the way, did not apologize. It was the guy above him, just so you guys, to make sure you guys got that part.
But he said
was a
if you
loser.
took a puppy dog, you stick it in a cage, and you whack on the side of that cage every day for a year, what's going to happen when you let that dog out? It's going to be all messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of what's going on. It's a lot of variables, but one of them is these jails have become businesses, and I was told that actually some of the state prison systems have been sued by corporations who are guaranteed a certain number of warm bodies per year. They're publicly traded companies. That's where we're at with criminal justice. And even if not directly in this state, there's still a financial profit motive for the services.
Well, that's because they can sue on the shareholders' behalf, right? And that all comes back to when Dodge sued Ford. You know about this?
I know there's a history with Dodge originally being owned by some people of certain interests.
Well, no. So Ford made a bunch of money, paid off everybody, every cent he owed them, like the shareholders, right? And then he turned around and wanted to take the excess profits, put it back into the business, and give it to employees.
Yes.
And Dodge said, "No, bro, that's not cool. You are obligated to the shareholders to give all of those excess profits to the shareholders and not as bonuses to your employees." And they lawfared Ford into losing, the Dodge brothers did, and set the precedent to where now we have for-profit prisons that can sue on the behalf of their shareholders, saying that the government isn't holding up their end of the contract to make them so much money a month.
Giving them enough prisoners. Well, I do want to put a pin in that because we have a caller on the line. Alu Axelman in Virginia, you're on Free Talk Live. What is on your mind?
Hi, what's on my mind is what you were talking about last night about Trump going crazy, seemingly. I think there's no other way to say it.
Yes.
What he's done to totally flip and go scorched earth, full-on war against Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who knows who else, but like his most loyal supporters, saying the savior of the universe will be a 50-year mortgage, meaning keeping you in debt, a.k.a. renting, and never owning a house forever, and increasing demand, meaning increasing prices, so not actually helping because he wants more people to be able to buy homes.
I kind of alluded to that at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, at the beginning of the show, he was saying that apparently...
Like, MAGA's dead. I think MAGA is dead.
Trump Trump decided to say that HB1 visas are good because there are not as many good workers. That is a flip, right? And yesterday when it was a different part of the show than what you referenced, but Ricky from the Commonwealth was saying how it seems like Trump isn't even making any sense to his own agenda. I was like, yeah, you're right. It's weird.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Every politician flip-flops, but Trump is doing it maybe even worse than average. And
Seriously.
Again, he's supposed to be the man of the people and everything and the most sincere, honest, genuine person, but he's flipped 180 degrees. I've written about this in articles on libertyblog.com. He's made so many massive flips on so many things, and going from totally banning like immigration visas and everything and $100,000 per person per year to then walking that back the next day by saying, oh no, it's a one-time fee of $100,000, and now pretty much saying like he needs more H-1B visas. Americans are, what do you literally call it, stupid and lazy or something, saying we need more high-skilled workers and bringing in more, which again will increase prices by increasing demand for housing. So that's going to hurt us all and depress wages because of more people working, obviously. So, yeah, it's a lot of bad stuff he's doing, and he's either gone crazy or he's captured by the most corrupt forces. But either way, MAGA's dead. And him going to war with Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene while making out with Lindsey Graham on the golf course is not a good look.
No, MAGA's dead. The technocrats killed it. That you just looked, you saw what happened. What happened was that Con Inc. got on the bandwagon in 2024. I mean, even people like look at Ben Shapiro in 2016 he was a never Trumper, a staunch never Trumper, and suddenly he's supposed to be a mouthpiece for MAGA, right? Everything just got co-opted. They did the same thing to the Tea Party back in 2012, 2008. Just a co-opted movement is what happened.
I've been saying this forever, and it seems like very few people besides you and me realize this. I've been saying forever, no matter how good the original intent and the original plan of any movement, the Tea Party movement, when Rubio and the others went into the Senate, and the movement 10 years ago and now, and Trump 1 and Trump 2, every movement, once they get government, every group of people and every plan and institution eventually becomes corrupted and begins to serve its own purposes and to become a corrupt elite force that does no good and destroys liberty. So that's why we can't have nice things. We can't have government.
Well, I mean, co-opted, they tried to kill him. Of course, he's bought and paid for at this point. They reached out and touched him. So, and I think whoever put that up or together probably had a meeting with him at some point later and was like, hey, we're playing, this is our ball, this is our game, and you're going to play ball. And all this crazy stuff about taking care of the American people, that's out the window. This is a technocratic oligarchy that we're working for, pal, and it's been in the works since the 1900s at least, with the Tavistock and the Fabians and the central banking system.
Yeah, I think Trump has lost his base so much that he's going to be screwed, and the Republican Party in the midterms in a year is going to be screwed. And again, it all comes back to secession. That's going to be the only plan going forward.
Yeah, I feel like only something even worse than MAGA is going to take this, fill in this vacuum, if that makes sense.
No, I don't think it's MAGA. I think we're just going to hand the country over to communists.
That's what I'm saying. Something way worse is going to fill in this like vacuum of power.
The power vacuum,
and also this like people want somebody that they can cheer behind and love
and feel good about. They want an emotionally feel good.
It's not going to be Trump anymore.
Well, it's like, or like even what Sarah said. She's like feels good. Like her emotions are embedded. Like she feels good when the Democrats win. It's like her football team is the Democrat Party, right?
Yeah, and they get her more gimmies.
It's a personality. It's a purpose. Everybody wants a purpose.
Yeah, and is Sarah more silly than the guy who paints his face green every weekend and spends thousands of dollars to go watch other men play a game? Right? Is she more silly? She's actually like affecting her life on the day-to-day. So maybe Sarah has it more put together than the sports ball guy. I don't know.
It's one way of looking at it. I think the sports are all fixed. That's a whole.
No, yeah, I think don't get me started on betting.
At least the politics, once in a while you get a wild card. I consider my election like that. You know what I mean?
Sports are more fixed than elections. I don't know about that. I think elections are more fixed.
No, I think sports have been more fixed because the mob and the mafia is taking over sports.
More fixed though than politicians.
I think.
But
way more.
Hold on. Let's take all of sports as in totality.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we including amateur sports,
exactly. And I think if you do the numbers overall.
It might be close to even. Well, you look at local
It's
elections.
a similar thing. There's both a game.
In New
We
Hampshire,
said
there's much more local control. In
Yeah, but the
elections.
swamp
You're right.
bats, the keen swamp bats aren't taking bribes to throw games.
And neither are the keen or the small
The high
elections.
schoolers.
The House in New Hampshire not as bad. Oh well, I'm
I
sure
can
it's
see some
happening.
corrupt mayors around here, probably.
But more Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live. Don't go anywhere.
What about that?
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Tired of the ever-inflating US dollar? You can live your life on Dash instead with some handy websites. BitRefill.com has been accepting Dash for years and has a ton of big-name retailers and brands including grocers, gas stations, phone refills, Amazon, and even prepaid MasterCards. Plus, many of their gift cards are available at a discount. But what about paying your bills? Spritz.finance can do that, and they can send dollars to your bank account in case you still need those for some reason. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol, and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at Dash.org. Thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit Dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. This week saw the end of the longest US government shutdown in history. It was 43 days long. It broke with the Senate and then the House passing the funding measure before Donald Trump signed the bill allowing the government to reopen on Wednesday night. The majority of Democrats still opposed the legislation as it did not extend healthcare subsidies for millions of Americans. Ever since Iris Spitzer in Washington, D.C. watched the week unfold and sent this report as lawmakers were making their way back to the U.S. Capitol for that crucial vote in the House.
U.S. lawmakers are scrambling back to Washington from their districts around the country for a vote expected to take place later Wednesday. The key breakthrough came in the Senate on Sunday when 8 Democrats first crossed the aisle to schedule a vote on the bill, despite it not containing extensions on health care subsidies, the main cause of the shutdown in the first place. The shutdown has caused major disruptions to U.S. air travel, as well as food assistance and other government-funded programs.
There were new questions this week over the relationship between Donald Trump and the sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, and what Donald Trump knew about Epstein's behavior. It followed the release of emails by House Democrats, which called into question the president's previous statements on the matter. Ever since Mitch McCann sent this report.
In one email from April 2011 that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman later convicted of assisting him in his crimes, he wrote, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump." He also added that an unnamed victim spent hours at my house with him. In another email from 2019, Epstein wrote to the author Michael Wolff about Donald Trump. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop, he wrote. The allegations posed in the emails call into question to what extent Mr. Trump knew about Epstein's behaviour after denying he was involved or had any knowledge of Mr. Epstein's crimes. Mr. Trump has never been charged with a crime related to Jeffrey Epstein.
The BBC apologised to President Trump this week for airing an edited version of his January 6th speech, which it said gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action. FSN's Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair Samir Shah has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. The Red Fort in New Delhi was the site of a deadly blast this week. The Indian government called it a terror incident. No group claimed responsibility, but police identified a key suspect, a doctor who was driving the car that exploded on Monday close to the iconic tourist attraction, killing 13 people. FSN's Neha Punia sent this report from New Delhi.
A day after police teams reportedly identified the prime suspect in the Delhi explosion case, we've now seen search operations take place at the university where he worked. He was a junior professor at a university in the neighbouring state of Haryana. The same university saw some doctors being arrested and detained just hours prior to the blast, and bomb-making material was found on them. Police teams have not said whether the two are directly linked or not. We've also seen police teams identify shops where explosive materials were bought for this explosion. These shops are located in the region of Haryana as well.
Also this week, Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, was hit by a suicide attack that killed 12 people and injured dozens more. The body of one of the last hostages remaining in Gaza was returned on Thursday as Phase 1 of the Gaza peace plan neared its completion. FSN's Blake Sifton sent this report from Tel Aviv.
Hamas returned the body of an Israeli hostage on Thursday night after issuing a joint statement with Palestinian Islamic Jihad that they had retrieved a body from the Khan Yunis area in southern Gaza. Israel is expected to return the remains of 15 Palestinians to Gaza in exchange on Friday. The bodies of 3 hostages now remain in Gaza of the 28 that were there when the ceasefire was reached last month. 2 of the deceased are Israeli and 1 is Thai. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
And that was the Week in Review. That's Feature Story News. Nick Harper reporting.
Studies show that more and more teenagers are leaving Facebook, but where are they going instead? Apparently, to the hottest new social media site in years, the comments section of this YouTube video of a deer running in slow motion. Already, its comment section is seeing over 30 million active users. Facebook isn't giving up so easily, incorporating images and videos of deer, elk, reindeer, and even moose into their layout. But teens say that misses the point entirely. In fact, the site's one unwritten rule: don't post anything about the video itself. Teens say that's not cool. But with more and more people swapping over to the comments section of the slow motion deer video by the day, some trend watchers warn it may begin going the way of Facebook.
I was obsessed with it for a while, but now it's just boring. I'm probably going to switch over to Happy Fast Kitchen.
While we don't know for sure, we believe Happy Fast Kitchen might refer to the Yelp page for a Chinese food restaurant in Cleveland, the new social media site where musician Skrillex recently dropped his latest album.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and that means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Jason Gerhard.
And Angelo.
And I did pull up this Skyglass thing, by the way, and, you know, I have an iPhone, so maybe I will download it on my phone. What would you say is, like, the use case? Like, what would I want to use that for?
If you pull up some of the videos from YouTube that demonstrate it, it puts everything into a three-dimensional space. So you can see not just a top-down, 2D view, but you're able to manipulate it and look at it from all different angles. Mm-hmm. And I find that extremely interesting. And also the fact that you can go back, I forget if it's 20 years, you can have a plane, look at it and say, where's this thing been?
Oh, wow.
Forever. And what's cool about, I keep saying cool. The reason I like that is because, let's say, in the investigation with Candace Owens, they've tracked a plane that was shadowing Charlie for years
the two
to
Egyptian,
Egypt.
The two Egyptian. There's two of them.
Yes, one flew. The other one was left.
When am I shadowing him?
It was always within. It was always within
the city.
2 hours of a TPUSA event, and it was like the major airport closest to a Charlie Kirk event. And it would always, these two planes would like follow him around the country, and they just always happened to be
leaving
right
Cairo.
Nearby.
Cairo.
They go through Cairo to Paris to wherever they were landing. Nebraska, Utah, Arizona. They were all over the country following these events.
Do you know about the 1973 treaty over the Yom Kippur War?
No.
Yeah, Israel pretty much owns Egypt.
That's one way of looking at it, yeah.
Yeah, the long short is that Israel pretty much has complete control.
Well, the key thing is the money, though. So by treaty, $3 billion goes to Israel every year. Half of that, $1.5 billion, goes to Egypt every year. Half of that, $750 million, goes to Jordan every year, basically not to attack Israel. And I think that's a lot of money, and we need to start reevaluating all these kind of... Now, the argument is, it's used on weapons, so it benefits American workers, and I just don't see that anymore.
So you're saying that it could be like Israeli people following Charlie Kirk, but leaving from Cairo?
I'm saying you give somebody $1.5 billion, you can start deciding what's going on over there.
Well, that is creepy, but...
Yeah, I'm not going to...
Hadn't heard of that either.
Well, it's just, it's like, it would have been a bad job to take, dude. You know what I mean? I think the person who probably... I don't know if Tyler Robinson did do it, and I don't think he did. The person that I think did do it, I believe, is dead already, and we'll probably never know who he is.
Well, why would they kill
honestly,
him then? Why would they kill him then? So he can't talk?
Yeah, what did they... That's what they did to the guy who shot Trump. They shot the kid right afterwards and then cremated his body within like 2 days. And then his parents' house had no silverware in it. Have you ever heard... Where is the Thomas Matthew Crooks? The parents of that kid who shot Donald Trump, 0 interviews from anybody.
And weren't they both like psychologists?
Yeah, they were both behavioral changing psychologists.
Whoa, that's creepy.
Like that was their whole shtick, was focusing on changing behavioral patterns.
Sounds like MK Ultra.
Behavioral therapists. And then when they searched their house, there was no silverware inside their house.
Psychopaths. No, it just sounds like a fake house,
Yeah, that's exactly just a fake house.
That's interesting because that's the only thing that separates us from the wild. These utensils, cutlery. That
really. Yeah, but have you heard anything about his parents? Have they?
No, I never heard any of that.
Nobody. Yeah, buried, gone.
I would make a suggestion. Going to go back to the grand jury. I think we need a federal grand jury to look into the prosecution out in Utah right now.
Do federal grand juries have the same rights as what you're talking about here?
Less and more. They can only investigate federal crimes. They don't have the ability, like state grand juries, just to go look and even see if a crime might be occurring, just to make sure the law is not being violated, as Supreme Court Scalia said in 1992. So it's really the way to kind of get to the bottom of who's lying about what, because if any even peripheral view of this investigation leads you to the conclusion that they're hiding stuff and they're not releasing all the information to the public, like why wouldn't you release all the video footage in a manhunt?
Yeah,
that's absurd. That's just
I'm just I'm at the point where if you have the video of him running off the roof and jumping down, and you can't give us the 10 seconds before that where he takes the shot on the same roof. You can't show us a video of him shooting anybody, but you can just give us a video of him jumping off a roof and say that's the guy who did it. That just doesn't make any sense. It's a 10 more seconds of video. That's all anybody wants, is 10 more seconds of video.
And Utah actually has an interesting history with the grand jury because the Mormons, they fought like hell not to allow the feds to pick their grand jurors. And they stacked the deck with their people. So they fought until I think it was 1880. I don't have my book that's marked up, but the history of this in the United States is so cool. There's this book called The People's Panel. It was written in 63, back when they still were telling the truth about a lot of things. But just like during Reconstruction, the grand jurors were used to keep the carpetbaggers at bay. They would raise their bonds, the public officials, to run them out of town and other things and indict them. But the Mormons were like one of the last ones to fall. So unfortunately, I'm not sure of their status out there now. But that's pretty interesting.
I know a lot of them work for the feds now.
Yeah, there's
a lot
issues,
of them are big CIA. Multiple languages, adherence to a strict hierarchical structure, completely driven by ideology. I mean, Mormons are great, spooks. You know what I mean?
I actually this video footage of me in Latter-day Saints in military uniform, a meeting. I didn't realize.
Wait, what? You were?
So I was in the Army for 2.5 weeks.
Oh. Wait, what?
Yeah, I was in the Army for 2.5 weeks before the feds arrested me on the whole tax standoff thing. Because I already agreed to join the military, and then things got switched up. They got delayed because I said I was going to do it. I did it. I have a twin brother who served, and I felt like I couldn't just back out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, But the point is,
but God got you out of there instead of you getting killed.
Yeah, no, I didn't have to poke landmines. But during, in the initial thing when I was in reception, everybody said you got to go to religious service on Sunday, otherwise you're going to have to clean the barracks. I want to get out of work. I was like, hell yeah. So I go down, there's a table with everyone signing up to go to whatever service they want to go to. And I don't know, I just didn't understand what was going on because one of the drill sergeants was there, and they like to just kind of randomly question you on stuff to get your facts right. And so they were asking, what is the purpose of a combat engineer? What's the main mission? What's the main mission of a combat engineer, which I was going for, 31 Bravo. And their main specialty is blowing up things. Like blowing up bridges, that's what kind of thing. But now it's just kind of destroying landmines and that kind of thing. But the true purpose is to keep the Army moving forward, is to remove any obstacle so everyone else can get there. It's really cool history.
It'd be so helpful if you actually got more training in that, because when everything goes down and it's as hits the fan, I don't know, I think that'd be a good skill to have.
Well, the sheriff deputies, I think they should establish constables for each town. So each town would have a constable, and he would be able to raise his own volunteers. And why wouldn't we have crews of guys that know how to fix power lines, that know how to maintain bridges, that know how to repair culverts? Because flooding is New Hampshire's #1 natural disaster. And I think the sheriff department needs... I'm going to run for sheriff again. But I really think this is another area where people can actually have direct influence, as in they're law enforcement now.
Yeah.
And they don't need to go through all the fake approval of the
during
state.
The Noble 9 arrests where Frank and Therese got arrested.
Yeah, I was there out in the parking lot.
I was in the parking lot too, and I remember there was this woman. She ended up being crazy. Her name's Sandra, and she was out there saying everyone just needs to call your sheriff, this sheriff, because I know a constitutional sheriff. I know, and the thing is, I understand the point. It's just that specific guy wasn't going to do anything. Anyways, he didn't do anything, and.
Well, it's funny enough,
together.
the irony of the fact that...
But they could.
But the irony of where
the right guy could.
The irony of where that meeting took place.
Mm-hmm. At the cop station, the cop academy? Yeah, cop academy.
The police standards and training, building whatever, where they train cops how to behave, is where they do a straight-up Gestapo maneuver.
Yes,
that
we're
is
about there.
what's so
I remember because I don't remember if you did it with me, but Sununu came and walked through this it's like this building bridge, those hallways that are like bridge, and I saw Sununu and I flipped him off, and you were there. Do you remember that? Did you do it too? Well, whatever, you don't have to say. I did it.
No, but I actually did when I was a state rep. He came in one time to talk to us. It was during a caucus meeting. So all the Republicans, because we were the majority by 1 during that year or 2, whatever it was. It was actually kind of cool because you could team up with a Democrat and throw everything out of whack. Jonah Wheeler from Peterborough, super cool,
cool,
super awesome rep. I think he's 21 now, right? Is he he's young. He was young.
He's supposedly the youngest one last year or whatever. And he got in trouble because...
And he's a Democrat, but he's cool.
He stood up for women as opposed to for trannies, and he got, he was, getting eaten by his own kind of thing.
I walked in on that because
really?
I stepped out at that moment, and Representative Muse was yelling at him right in his face. So I'm standing there, and I'm just like, let's do it. Because then you have these...
Right in his face?
Yeah, right outside but you could hear it in the main chamber. So people turning around. I was kind of sticking to see what was going on because I wanted... it would be nice if he... Well, I shouldn't say that. Violence is not right, but the idea you're yelling at a young kid about how he's voting on something.
Seriously, that's he should not be allowed to do that because that's it's almost like...
It's a member of his own party.
But it's also he is trying to influence somebody to vote a certain way.
Exactly. The guy he's on the Criminal Justice Committee. I wonder how many investigations they've done of the criminal justice system. Yeah. The whole thing is so...
Muse?
Yeah, he's the one that blocks everybody on Twitter. Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. He doesn't allow anyone to comment unless he
David
approves
Muse,
them.
right? I think. Okay.
But it's so weird too. If you're a state representative, why are you putting out, or a public official, why are you putting out propaganda without the means for people to counteract that propaganda?
Right, he
That's
blocks
kinda
people.
Weird too. So
Scared. That's just cowardice. That's all that is. Coward.
And that guy
I call
Jonah,
it how I see it.
Jonah really he didn't back down. He went to this meeting in Peterborough where he represents, and the whole town are all these woke liberals, and they were like yelling at him and being horrible to him and like saying things like like a little bit racist and stuff to him, and he like veiled racism. Like they were like, I always stood up for you because you're a person of color, and now you're not standing up for trannies.
Is he not white?
No, he's not. So, or at least like he's mixed or something like that. I think he's just black, but I could be wrong. But anyways,
no, I believe he is. He is mixed.
Oh, okay, but
yeah, not that it matters, but it's
that's
important
what
to
they
understand
were
the
bringing
story.
up. Yeah, right. And they were like he didn't like yell at him. He kept his composure. He's just like a really good guy. And he's a Democrat, so it seems crazy. And also,
and he's also cited as the best dressed.
Oh, I bet. Yeah,
seriously,
he got dripped.
Some of the Republicans, they make it a point to say about how well dressed he is. He wears these plaid suits, and I asked him, like, dude, where do you get the money? And he's like, it's all secondhand stuff. Or you know what I mean? He told. I'm sorry, one of them he actually got a killer deal on 3 suits. I'll tell you, I never wore wool like that. Wool is amazing. I'm wearing a wool hat. Actually, it's made in Minnesota. These hats are awesome. But the wool with the frequency increasing, it's like. You ever hear about that? The different
just
frequency
because
of wool?
polyester is just plastic and it's like messing up your vibes. I believe that.
Well, do you know about the polyester with the dogs?
No.
They put polyester pants on dogs for 3 years. And 75% of the female dogs, they had holes cut out, right? And they had a control group with no pants on. They had the polyester pants ones, and then they had wool and cotton, and I believe something else. But they did this study on the fertility, and it turned out the dogs with the polyester pants, this is 2008, there's one study, but there's a bunch, which is really horrible because dogs don't deserve to be wearing polyester. But anyway, 75% were infertile.
No, that's horrible.
In 3 years?
No, there was different periods. I'm just saying the total length. Like I think it was a 2-year stretch, and they let them not wear pants, and they put them pants back on or something like that. There was multiple studies, but just the idea, and they think it has something to do with one of the things I saw, but the static charge.
Interesting.
It's right up on your jammies.
And then like wool and all that stuff, wool and cotton is like natural.
Well, I just know wool. Wool has the best, like the insulating properties. Like even when soaking wet, wool still retains 70% of its ability to keep you warm. Whereas like if like a cotton t-shirt, if you get wet and it's cold, the cotton will actually pull heat away from your body while it's wet, while the wool will continue to do its job.
Are you familiar with lanolin?
Lanolin is that stuff that they make floors with?
I thought it was lanolin. No, it's wool grease.
I think it was
it's sheep. I'm sorry, they call it. I'm sorry, not wool. They call it sheep grease. And you use it to undercoat cars and stuff. There's a chemical they mix with something else that you do that, but still, this stuff is.
Well, they used to. It's like an oiled skin, like an oiled jacket. Back in the day, you would lanolin your canvas jacket, and you would waterproof things.
Now, why were they using mink wax on shoes then? Is it better?
It's the same thing, same idea.
Oh, I didn't want to use mink. I thought it was the only way to go.
No, you can use different. There's different kind of like they used to use seal oil and stuff. Like
now you want to kill seals? You're just getting worse and worse.
Well, I mean that's just what they use, or like whale oil for maybe not. That's mostly for lamps, but like seal blubber and they like for like fishermen back in the day they didn't have rubber
raincoats. Wait, what's the point of this? Why'd you bring up lanolin? Is like to.
Wool. It's a derivative of wool. It's sheep grease, they call it, but it's so waterproof. Just saying, wool is an amazing fabric.
Yeah, wool's crazy.
Maybe we need to get back to it. I would love it.
I messed up my wool jacket, or not jacket. It's a cardigan that I got.
Yeah.
I messed it up because it's like really hard to deal with. Like it's like
cold wash, air dry.
The thing was, I literally washed it not on like hot water or anything, but like on warm. I didn't think it was that serious, and I shrunk it in the wash. I've never shrunk anything else in the wash.
It's serious.
I didn't know it was that serious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've used those Green Army wool surplus blankets. Man, I've used the crap out of those, dude. Those things have saved my behind more than once. Stuck out in the woods.
The Army blanket, I'm imagining.
They have cut in them, but it turns out in jail nobody wanted those because they were like, it's itchy. They wanted the cotton ones. I didn't realize how golden they are. Although the filler, it's 90-10. I don't know what that 10 is. I think the 10 is like straight industrial recycle. I don't know, but
whatever, dude. Saved my life.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, of course.
Like, let's say a perfect car blanket, like a back of the car blanket. Those
the Army blanket I can only imagine
great.
right now from like a kid with like my dad's stuff was those ones that feel silky on the outside.
No, not like a bivvy.
Those are not good. I don't like them.
Bivvy.
They're
I'm
awful. They're cold.
These you find these are like from like the Vietnam, Korea era surplus, like a 9
you
by,
know when
like
you have
it's a huge scratchy green army green blanket.
Yeah. You know when you have wool, it's so warm. It's so warm. So I'm thinking that was some kind of synthetic fiber that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think so too.
A balaclava or anything
awful.
in wool, even if it's thin, is just a game changer. We were just hiking Mount Liberty and...
This is what I'm talking about. See this? That was in my house, and it was like nobody wanted that blanket. Does it look familiar? Sorry, I'm showing the people in the studio this picture of a blanket that says military, green military.
I feel bad for everybody on the
poncho liner. Woo.
Oh yeah, that's a whoopee.
Oh, it says right there. It says nylon.
Yeah, that's a whoopee. That's not
They're awful.
That's not an army. Just look up like an green army blanket.
And you know who created nylon, right?
Army. That says green military.
No, but that's a whoopee. A whoopee's different. That's like a liner for your sleeping bag. We're talking like straight. This is just a green blanket.
Okay, no, I already looked up wool blanket. Like, I just don't remember my dad bringing one home or anything.
But you know
he probably didn't use one in Afghanistan, dude. It's the desert.
But
it gets cold. It gets cold at night.
Things
yeah,
anyway?
but that's when they started using those. I used them in Boy Scouts. The strip down. They were sleeping bags that had 4. It was like 4 sleeping bags in one, and you could do layers. You would layer your sleeping bag up depending on the situation. And then you put the whoopee on the outside as like a waterproofing.
I don't know why, but I hate that word.
That's a lot of GWAT stuff I used when I was like 14, 15, because a lot of that was going surplus from like 2001.
Yep.
So when I would go backpacking with friends, we'd get a bunch of the GWAT surplus stuff and use that bags and.
One thing I wanted to ask you guys about, if you've heard, my brother was talking about this. Have you guys heard about how there's like protests going on in Mexico right now?
Yeah.
It says thousands protest crime and corruption, which is like they can tell us whatever they're protesting about. We don't know. Thousands protest crime and corruption in Mexico City as Gen Z protests gain momentum. So have you heard about this, Jason?
No.
Yeah, I hadn't either. And
no, they're surrounded the presidential palace. And they're like throwing rocks and stuff through the windows.
This has been. So I was in El Salvador. I didn't hear anything about that. I guess.
Well, this is in Mexico.
I know, but all those kind of countries are in the whole little kind of group.
Especially if it's something big going on in Mexico.
Yeah,
I would think so too. But
I guess this is like the last 2 weeks. I think
I just got back on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So my little brother seems to be kind of thinking that it has something to do with this. That president, like, first of all, I don't even understand how a woman got elected in Mexico. Like, I was married to Mexico.
Claudia Sheinbaum.
But there's that too.
Got elected.
What's
in
her
Mexico.
ancestry?
Sheinbaum.
Oh well, yeah. Do you have to ask? Like, come on, man.
I was like, did you not know?
Everyberg single Stein Timowitz.
It's not that. I'm saying more like the Mexican people I've known, like good people. I like Mexicans from Mexico, but they're not big on like women in power. And I don't blame them. They're just more traditional.
Does it have something to do with machismo?
I don't know.
100%.
I've heard of it, but
35 candidates were murdered in Mexico during the last election cycle.
Right, like all the other people that were running against her got murdered. Not all of them, literally, but there's a Wikipedia page, and my brother sent it to me because I said the same thing. I was like, ever since I heard about her, I was like, really like seemed sketchy because like seriously, I can't imagine Mexicans electing a woman. And he sent me this Wikipedia page that says like all of the people murdered, all the candidates murdered in 2024 election. It was like tons. It's like they have to have a Wikipedia page about it.
There's also a Wikipedia page about people that died by the Clintons, I think.
Oh, really? I haven't heard of that one, honestly.
Or maybe it's not on Wikipedia, but somebody actually got all of the murders and put them in one spot. It's pretty crazy.
That is creepy.
Yeah,
but would be fun to.
Read. And that just raised the props. All these countries are killing people. Or imprisoning them forever, like Ian. So anyway.
Just wanted to throw it out there one more time, since I don't think I focused on it at the beginning. If you want to bring up whatever's on your mind, 603-283-6160 is the phone number. You can call in with whatever's on your mind. If you have an opinion on anything we're saying, if you want to change the subject, it's up to you. But I wanted to get into a little bit of this from NBC. It says, NBCnews.com. Several thousand people took to the streets of Mexico City on Saturday to protest crime, corruption, and impunity in a demonstration organized by members of Generation Z, but which ended with strong backing from older supporters of opposition parties. So the demonstration was mostly peaceful, but ended with some young people clashing with the police. Protesters attacked police with stones, fireworks, sticks, and chains, grabbing police shields and other equipment. Yeah, in Mexico, it's like they don't play. Like, if a cop kills someone, that cop is hanging in a tree the next week, you know?
If it's on, yeah. I'm very conflicted with, because like having the cartel run your city is a tough life, you know, for a lot of these like young men that are forced to go to like military.
I don't think it's just cartels. I think it's like more their culture. Like, you don't just kill someone's daughter and not get away with it. In Americans, we're just pussies now.
True.
That's honestly what it is.
True.
Disarmed by attorneys.
Exactly. Like
What's the legal advice?
Oh, sorry. You think the court will take care of this for me?
Well, it's not just that. It's even
the legalese. It's the...
Well, they've literally taken over the system.
Yeah.
Because even, let's say, a bill. You want to make a bill, right? That's the people's body. It goes to the OLS, Office of Legislative Services.
Oh, yeah.
They write the bill. They are all bar attorneys.
That was so shocking to me when I first moved here.
Me too.
And got involved with this kind of stuff. I didn't know that, like, he was a state rep. I didn't know.
So you don't draft your own bills?
No,
you
do draft it.
Oh,
you send it to them, and then they rewrite it in their own words, in the words they want.
To make it legal, quote unquote, so it like fits in with...
Since the 1960s.
All the double speak
but
that they have
But they're playing
legal...
the game. So I wrote to the county attorney, who, it turns out, must be a member of the bar as well. And they say, oh, we'll give you, I can't give legal advice. So no one knows the real answer. It's all gray. It's all controlled.
603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. 603-283-6160. Bring up whatever's on your mind. What do you think about what's going on in Mexico? Have you heard about that? Want to change the subject? It's up to you. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
You can help more people hear the message of liberty by joining Free Talk Live's AMPS program on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. And you'll get access to special perks. Visit amps.freetalklive.com, amps.freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Kate Fisher. The US and Switzerland have reached a trade deal, according to the US Trade Representative Jameson Greer. The Swiss government said that duties will be reduced to 15%, down from 39%. Our US correspondent Mitch McCann reports.
On the social media platform X, an account linked to the Swiss federal government posted that Switzerland and the US have successfully found a solution. US tariffs will be reduced to 15%. The post thanked Donald Trump for what it called constructive engagement. Back in July, Mr. Trump said Switzerland would be hit with a 39% tariff after a Swiss delegation failed to secure a deal during talks in Washington. It's reported the 39% rate increased the cost of the country's exports of drugs, dairy, gold and watches. According to the US Trade Representative, the deal would involve establishing new manufacturing in the US for industries including pharmaceuticals.
The BBC has apologised to US President Donald Trump for airing an edited version of his January the 6th speech, which it says gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action. But it rejected there was a case for a defamation claim. Our Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair Samir Shah has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages for what they called false, defamatory, disparaging and inflammatory statements about the president.
After months of fierce debate, the German government has agreed on a plan to boost troop numbers. The plan is expected to be voted on later this year, with Berlin seeking to create Europe's largest conventional army. Europe correspondent William Denslow reports from Brussels.
Under the plan, all 18-year-old men will have to fill out a questionnaire to determine their eligibility to serve in the army, and by 2027 be mandated to undergo a medical check too. Germany currently has roughly 180,000 troops, but hopes to boost that to more than 255,000 in the next decade, with an additional 200,000 reservists. Defence Minister Boris Pistorius says that the more capable the deterrence is, the less likely the country will be party to a conflict. The proposal does not include compulsory enlistment, but the government says that it could be considered by Parliament if its targets aren't met.
From bureaus worldwide, this is...
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Are you tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites? Our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Jason Gerhard,
and Angelo.
And we changed the subject so many times recently, I kind of forgot what we were talking about. But
well, there was one thing I was thinking about that Sarah had mentioned. Then we're kind of talking about how everything's fake and gay. Right?
Oh, I do want to mention really fast that if you want to call in, it's the last segment, 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160.
But Sarah had mentioned how when she goes up to these Gen Z students and like the fact that she isn't there for a candidate, they're like okay with talking to her because like she mentioned that they hate. No, dude, I was gonna mention that like Gen Z, bro, we hate marketing so much that if we see any ad for something,
being manipulated your whole life,
we've been manipulated and force-fed this stuff our whole lives, that when I see an ad I go, I'm never buying that product. I actively go against the advertisements because I know what's going on, and all these other Gen Z people know what's going on, and these marketing firms are pulling their hair out because they don't know. They're like, well, Gen Z's not buying anything. Why aren't they drinking? Why aren't they partying? They're not going out. It's because we see through it, dude. It's all fake and gay. Why are we even kidding anymore?
I don't know if I believe 100% that the reason they're not like drinking and stuff is just because they see through because I think a lot of it is shyness and not wanting to go socialized. Do you agree? I've seen so much of that in young
maybe
people.
to an extent, but it's also like, what's the point? None of it means anything. We know it's all been commodified. Like the human connection's been tainted with
but
this.
That's how you fight back is like go hanging out with friends and stuff. Like me and my friends in high school had amazing times and human experiences. And we didn't just sit at home being like, "Oh, it's all over," you know. Like, I'm not saying I don't really blame people for being black.
So it's so hyper commodified, especially for like teenagers. Everything's recorded. Like even from when you were in high school, now there's Ring cameras on every house, and everything you do is literally recorded every second of the day. From when you step onto school property to when you try to drive back to your house, everywhere you go is on camera and tracked, and there's no like letting loose, right?
We weren't like.
And then
breaking into people's houses.
No, true, but you're just getting followed everywhere you go. All these kids have Life 360 on their phone. Their parents can see where they are at 24 hours of the day.
It looks like we have a caller. Sorry about that. So I'm going to go to this. They're both unscreened. Unscreened caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, you fucking fat piece of shit? What the fuck?
Okay, the other one literally is labeled crank caller, so I dumped him. It's not even like you get on the air when you do stuff like that. So I'll label this one also crank caller. It looks like there's maybe 2 crank callers. And what a loser. Like once again, sitting at home, probably in your mom's basement, like not doing anything for your life. No one cares what you have to say. Don't even get out on the radio when you try to do that, as if we're like, what is this, like the, first century, like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's a helpline. I get it, man. Things suck. I get it.
What do you mean?
Well, it's fun to just be an a-hole. Like, who hasn't trolled online? I mean, it's just,
I'm
but
not
you grow
even,
out of it, though.
If you could have had, something better,
yeah,
I might have listened.
Right. At least be entertaining. Like, they're so bad.
Yeah. Sad. Step your game up, people. Really. We're in an information war. We truly are. Go make a cool meme or something. I don't know. Do something.
That is an interesting thing I've been hearing a lot about recently. I showed Angelo this YouTuber guy that I really like watching now named Izzy. And he makes these long videos. They're pretty interesting where he talks about the different, deeper meanings of each meme and how they the ones that get successful, they're things that have tapped into different, what is the word, Jungian
archetypes.
Yeah, the archetypes. Yeah,
it's really cool. Like, people could make and you could really get into other people's heads and make change with what you want to say out there using these memetic archetypes. But for whatever reason, the left is not good at it.
I saw a video that caught my attention with how kind of this memetic warfare and how suddenly it seems like the internet's saying a lot of stuff that would have got them banned. And you think maybe it is just like the flood. It's too much to stop the floodgates, or are they letting you say this on purpose
to identify you?
Yeah, and then so they can turn around and then blame you for whatever they're about to do next. Right? They're setting you up for your own downfall.
How would they blame us?
Like this, I mean, Instagram and stuff is, and TikTok with the whole anti-Israel sentiment exploding all over the internet. Mm-hmm. Almost that kind of stuff would have got you banned in 2018, super fast, mm-hmm. right?
And now they're just letting it out.
They're just letting it out. And I almost feel like it's so they can blame us.
Mm-hmm.
They can blame you for whatever they're about to do next. So they can be like, see, look what they're doing. Now we're justified in whatever the next actions we take.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. And it really does feel like that it's so unorganic. Recently I just put on Twitter, I was annoyed, and it was so lame and boring, and it gets so old to go on Twitter and everything is just racism. It feels so fake. Just when I was a kid, people weren't racist like that. Rarely were racist like that. And I went to elementary school in Tennessee. It's not like I'm from someplace where no one was ever racist. You know what I mean? And then it wasn't. What?
Well, women are different. Women are different. Guys always had the cool new racist joke.
No,
you know what I mean? It was always your
something like that is different. When I was in middle and high school, people always made race jokes, and they were all actually friends. But
yeah, exactly.
But in what I meant was elementary school, I literally went to school with people that was 50% black, 50% white, and we didn't hate each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the hate
I feel
wasn't there, but
it wouldn't be like that today. You know what I mean? People are being taught, hey, see those white kids in your class? They're the ones that are your problem, the problem for you. Yeah. They cause all your problems and stuff. And I didn't have that kind of a feeling at all with other people in my grade. And then you go on to, then I moved to a different state. So then there's I've lived in a super diverse place, not just white people, black people. And I didn't feel like the Mexicans hated me or the Asians hated me or anything like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But nowadays it's just the relations between race have changed really and gotten a lot worse. Do you disagree? Because if you disagree, then you disagree.
I just think you're in the middle of a psychological operation.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't really care what's on the TV because it's all designed just to get you to get all worked up about nothing.
That's what I'm saying about the racism on Twitter. I think it's mostly fake. It's mostly bots.
Well, I would argue that maybe we should have a federal or maybe a state grand jury look into the algorithms on all these different social media companies, these corporations, and to demand the files, emails, whatever it is between different executives, and find out what these things are actually programmed for, And if there's some potential for foreign actors or whatever the special interests are that are controlling what's going on. And then just looking at it from that viewpoint, because this really does become a public infrastructure at this point. I consider public infrastructure like the roads. I know who's going to pay for them. But then also banks. I think those are public infrastructure. You know what I mean? And that's why I love the bank in North Dakota, because it's owned by the state of North Dakota. All state revenue has to be deposited into that, and then they loan it to themselves, basically interest-free. So it cuts half the cost off of bridges and schools and everything else they're building, and they loan it out to people as well. For student loans. It's nuts. Since 1919, the farmers are a populist movement, and they said, screw you, back east bankers. And they also were manipulating the price of wheat, so they built their own huge grain silo. Those guys are gangsters.
Yeah, have you seen their state house is pretty interesting. Their Capitol building. Have you ever seen it? It's like this North Dakota's. It's like super brutalist architecture. It looks like it's like straight out of communist Russia.
Okay.
It's kind of scary. It looks like a building you go in and you don't come back out of.
Interesting.
But I mean, that's just their state house. But it looks super terrifying.
Did you go there? Oh, wait, did you and Elsa show me this picture?
Yeah, we went there.
You look at it, it's like this tall,
like in the middle of North Dakota is this huge concrete spire in the middle of nowhere.
Middle of fields where all flat.
Yeah, it's
that's
all
interesting. Kind of creepy.
I've never been there,
it is super creepy looking. It looks like a building like you'd watch your mom get taken to when you're 6, and then she never comes back out of for some reason.
What?
Oh,
yeah, like on some she got black bagged and disappeared. Like a Ministry of Truth kind of building. I got bad vibes from it.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. I hear you on that. Okay, so we went to San Salvador, the capital of El Salvador, and there was a brutalist. My buddy, he knew a lot more than I do. He knows a lot more than I do. Anyway, he said this is a famous example of brutalist architecture with a cathedral. And from the outside, it looks raunchy. If you could pull that up, it'd be so cool because it's all dirty and nasty looking. So I was like, yeah, all right. And I ended up going to a bakery to get something to eat because I'm being a fatty. And he wants to go inside, so it was like a couple bucks. I'm eating. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to go inside a concrete block.
Was it the old capital? Is that what you're saying?
In San Salvador, the capital of El Salvador, there's a brutalist architecture cathedral, Catholic cathedral.
That's weird.
And it's so anyway. But I didn't realize is that inside they built it so it faces the setting sun, and it lights up all this colored glass in the different layers of the stone, so it all shines in. It's so beautiful. We had just gone to another cathedral, a Catholic cathedral that was older, more traditional style, and I really found it kind of interesting.
The rainbow glass, this one?
Yes, isn't that beautiful?
That's crazy.
Beautiful. And I didn't go inside because I'm an idiot, so I want to go back. But it's just really kind of cool how from the outside things might really look bad, but inside Jesus got you. I'm a big fan, and the whole redemption aspect and. Yeah, it's pretty cool because that city, that country has seen a lot of horrible things. So, but they're on the upturn now for sure.
Yeah, was there? Was there a lot of Contra stuff in El Salvador? Was the CIA super involved there, like the 60s, 70s?
Well, I thought that was Nicaragua in the 80s with Bush.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we spent so much.
Spilled over, but I don't know.
We spent so much money in South America, deposing people left and right, running drugs from wherever we can grow it.
Yeah. It is just a beautiful building, though. Nothing else.
Why were we talking about South Dakota originally?
Because of their banks. North Dakota. They own North Dakota owns the bank that...
Bank of North Dakota.
The Bank of North Dakota, yeah. They have their own state bank.
Are they the only state that does that?
Yes. And they loan money to themselves interest-free. So if you want to build a bridge or something else, anywhere else in the country, it costs... They save 50% of the cost of everything because they're not paying interest. They're literally taking, because the magic of fractional reserve banking where you multiply what you have. So if we all take tax revenue, if we take tax revenue in New Hampshire and we put into a bank, we can play boop, 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 multiply that money by 10 or whatever the hell it comes out to be. You multiply it and now you take that Fugazi money, which all Fugazi, but you take the Fugazi money and you loan it to yourself to build and to fix your infrastructure. Also loan to yourself. They have more retail banks per capita than anywhere else in the country or world because they go right to local community banks and say, hey, you need a line of credit? Gotcha. That's amazing. So it doesn't defeat competition because you're actually getting the small guys in, not just any town. I hate any town USA, the whole thing. But you got the mega bank. You got this. It all looks the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole corporate strip mall thing. It's always the
I
same.
call it the Californication of the country. Like I've even noticed since when I was a little kid, like everything. Like I grew up in Oregon, so I'd go down to California where I have family, and I'd be like, "Wow, like California, like looks like this." And as I got older, I started traveling more places, and I noticed as I got older, the more everything kind of started to look like California. It started to look like the same strip malls I would see, like in the suburbs of LA, and now everywhere has the same 6 places. Like, you have the Office Depot and the Staples and the Burger King and the Taco Bell and the Bank of America, and that's your little strip mall, right? And that strip mall's in every city in America.
Yeah. I just want to mention the power of redemption. In the chat, Derek Gatz says, "I don't know why I'm trolling. LOL. I'm bored." I get it.
Who's that? The person that called in?
I guess so. Maybe not. Maybe just somebody else. But the point being is, I get it. But hey, talk to your grand jury. I mean, there's cool things to do with your time, and just try to sit down, just turn off, and start thinking. Just let your mind wander and try to figure out what's all going on. Because I'm thinking a lot of this is fake and gay now. And I'm talking about even bigger than politics. I'm talking about what memories do we really even believe at this point? You mean
of like history?
Just all of it, even our own personal memories. I don't know. It just seems the technology and stuff. It's really crazy.
Oh, maybe you have heard of this. I don't remember if Angelo said he has a similar story. I think he did. Angelo and I both were one of those kids that got brought into a room all by ourselves and tested on in public school.
Candace,
I wasn't in a public school. I was at a private Christian school.
Oh, I was in public school.
And they took me like a couple times. They I had to like go with the principal, and they kept me for like a whole day, and they just gave me like these different worksheets to work on. And I had to like sit in the office and like sit next to the principal and like do these worksheets, and then I went back to class.
In mine, they took me to a portable out of nowhere one day, and my mom told me the next day that they had asked her permission to take me for these tests, and so she told them, but she didn't tell me. So one day I'm just in 3rd grade, and it was my first year of public school because before that I was homeschooled, and they took me to a portable. You know what that means?
Yeah, we had those. Yeah, and on Long Island. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they took me to a portable, just me and this lady that I didn't know, that I've never even seen in the school before. Like, I didn't know her at all. I thought I was in trouble. She didn't tell me what we're doing or anything. She was like being nice and everything, and she just took me in there and did these tests on me that were showing me like different shapes and telling me to choose which one would be the next shape in the pattern, like over and over again. It wasn't a day, like it wasn't a whole day.
Do we have time to delve into this?
But I was just.
Well, we have like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah. What do you want to say?
Well, first, Candace was saying that she thinks the standardized testing is a way to identify the higher intelligent kids because the last X amount of random shooters scored in the X percentile of being super intelligent.
Yeah, I did.
So there's some screening going on. So I would say take your kids, don't let them do any standardized testing. It's government testing. Yeah.
That's weird. I did talk to somebody high up in the school system in 7th grade. We had something called the Oaks testing in Oregon, which was the Oregon standardized testing system, and I guess I had got the highest score in like the state on the English portion of the standardized testing, and my teacher wouldn't shut up about it for weeks, and I had to some superintendent was like, "This is the kid. Wow, really smart. We'll watch your stuff, buddy." And then that was scary. It. I was like, I play football, dude. I don't want to listen to you guys.
Well, are you guys familiar with the autistic kids that started spelling?
Yeah.
Like the telepathy tapes?
Yeah, I got him to listen to the telepathy tapes.
That is such a white pill. I thank Ian Carroll for tipping me off to that.
These guys, I think they're called the Nephilim Death Squad. They're a podcast. They're going to have the preacher that worked on the telepathy tapes talk about how the lady who runs it, Kay or whatever her name is, she cut a lot of the content of the kids talking about Jesus Christ, and they're going to have the father who worked on the podcast, Kai Dickens. Yeah,
she's lesbian.
That is
she
amazing.
is a lesbian. Yeah, she is.
She might be anti-Jesus. I don't know.
Just to put that out there, but he said that the kids talked about Jesus like a ton, and they cut a ton of that stuff out.
Yeah, he's real.
I want to know everything they were saying.
Yeah, so she cut a ton of that stuff out, and he's going to go on Nephilim Death Squad and talk about that. They just
if he has some kind of proof, I'll definitely be.
If we can have anybody in New Hampshire that would love to talk about that, I think that'd be such a good conversation. We could set up some kind of venue somewhere, some bar or whatever it may be, because that is just that's something that changes the conversation.
Well, you know where the lady who figured all this stuff out, you know where she is based out of?
Oregon.
Is Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there's a lot of weird mental health stuff in Oregon's backstory with like the Oregon State Hospital.
Seems like a good guy though, because she found out these things organically, but in her career, like her speech pathology career, or whatever it is. And when she wrote a paper about it, she got disbarred, or not disbarred, but like kicked out of her. She got her doctorate taken away. But then
she had to fight to get it back. Yeah,
to get it back, and she did get it back.
Well,
but
that's what I mean. Oregon's super corrupt in their with their mental health systems. Like Oregon used to have some of the worst rates of abuse in their state ran asylums. Like it was actually horrific what they would do to people with like lobotomizations and electroshock therapies and like those people just didn't go away once we got rid of the hospitals. You know, they just went into they just transferred over to do other things, and that Oregon's mental health is abysmal.
I think all states really need to have somebody on the inside. So when I was a state rep, I tried to investigate the county jail and the state prison. And I got, because I was a former felon, they gave me this whole song and dance, got to be attached to the director's hip. And it turns out the director thereafter resigns. I'm not saying because of me, because some things were allegedly found, which I don't know ever went public. That's another thing the grand jury needs to look into. But she and her second in command resigned quickly, forced resignation kind of thing. And I just wonder if, talking to a few people in these institutions by the grand jury, whoever it may be, just to how many problems could be stopped or just abuse prevented. Because I actually received documentation when I was a rep about electroshock therapy. They still do that.
Wait, what?
Electroshock therapy. I don't think it happens in New Hampshire, I was told. But I didn't realize that. That's nuts.
Yeah, they still do a lot of messed up stuff in places, and they just don't talk about it.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And it's like the whole thing where they say, like, where do we put these homeless people? And a lot of people say open the insane asylums again, but like they just tested on, that's just human beings being tested on like guinea pigs the whole time by the state.
Just stop giving them free stuff, and then if they want to continue living, they go do something for themselves, and if they don't, then they don't. You know, like they can go live in a place that's like in the middle of nowhere, which the thing is right now cops will go like bust up their, I'm actually not in favor of that if it's on, like a place where they're out of the way, and like there are sometimes where private property owners have like a random forest and they don't mind the homeless people being there, and then the cops will go bust it up anyway. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I think you should have rail.
Trying to push them into the downtowns? But anyways.
I would argue for rail accessible only areas, such as Alaska has, and you could set them up anywhere. But the point being is remote areas that you can have a drone now hover someone 24 hours a day and track them.
Yeah.
You know where someone is every second of every day. The idea that you even need these things called prisons and jails is only because of it's a jobs program, and not just for the employees themselves, but also for the corporations that supply them with all their quote-unquote needs, where people can provide for themselves. I say give them an acre of land or whatever, let them have chickens and stuff. You have 1 year and $20,000 or whatever it may be to get started. If you can't make it work, you're going back to jail. I'm telling you, a whole bunch of people are going to turn to McDonald real fast, or the
old McDonald.
Old McDonald, yeah, what am I saying? But yeah, I think people know how to survive. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, there are definitely people who don't have the will to survive in them, and they're just being like fed, please don't feed the rats.
Yeah, like how many people are going to take that $20,000 and blow it in Vegas in a weekend?
Because it costs $60-something thousand to lock them up every year.
True.
My point being is it's a penny, so it's pennies.
I don't want to pay to lock them up either. Like,
but I'm saying
but listen,
what I'm saying. You give them an upfront $20,000, and then it's on your own. Make it work. People in El Salvador are doing that. I've seen them live in these conditions, and you're like, holy moly.
Yeah, because it's like the people in El Salvador are poor for legit reasons, and
I'm
then
not
they want to get better.
I'm just simply saying you can make it work.
And then they want to get better. Like they're actually just real reasons people be poor if you live in El Salvador, and it's not just like...
I grew up poor. I get it. I mean, I totally get it. So.
But it's just like you decided like to do something for yourself. Now you're not like living on the street. And it's like in America, the people who are living on the street, unless they like are mentally disabled, then they could get off, but they don't for specific reasons. It's like drugs. They just don't want to stop doing drugs. Or it's that they're getting fed. They're the rats on the street getting fed to just continue living that way. And I'm not saying they're just like a rat. Like, I'm not saying they're not worth like what a human is worth, but my rights should not my rights shouldn't just end because they want to exist. Like, I shouldn't have to give money. I shouldn't have to go work at a real job like Walmart, and part of that goes to feeding the people who just want to sit on the side of the road and do nothing, but yet they can go stand in line and get their food for the day and then go on to like be completely not, doing anything with their lives. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I also look at it as it's a form of protest.
Yeah, but you can live on the side of the street and not steal from others, and that's like I'm not saying.
I'm totally for that. Definitely.
Well,
Diogenes didn't demand people pay for his jar that he lived in. He just lived in it under the stairs.
Wasn't Socrates a beggar? If he's real, I mean, who knows all these people?
No, I think it's Diogenes was the beggar.
Socrates didn't work. He just took alms.
In the jar? Well, anyways.
I don't know what you're talking about.
FreeTalkLive.com for more, and thanks for listening. Peace.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 13th through the 16th for the 8th annual Fork Fest at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Fork Fest is a fork of the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which has sold out in recent years. Fork Fest happens the weekend before the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Fork Fest is decentralized, which means that there's no ticket cost and no one is in charge. All you have to do to join the fun is reserve your camping site, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 13th through the 16th. You can find out more at the unofficial website, forkfest.party. You can also connect with other attendees on the Forkfest Telegram and Matrix chat rooms, as well as the Forkfest Forum. You can find links to those at forkfest.party. We hope to see you there June 13th through the 16th. Forkfest.party.
Eleutheromania, the insatiable desire for freedom. It's the new 3-song heavy metal EP from Captain Kickass. Available now on your favorite music app or get it directly from CaptainKickass.com.